Interrompemos esse podcast para perguntar: quem você quer ser?
Designer,
engenheira, pedagoga,
administrador.
Quer saber? O Senac EAD é nota máxima no MEC. Tem cursos de diversas áreas, com conteúdo elaborado por especialistas do mercado e professores mestres e doutores. Ainda tem o Senac Carreiras, conectando estudantes a vagas de emprego em todo o país. Saiba mais em ead.senac.br/graduação.
Uma pausa no seu podcast para falar sobre a beleza, essa força poderosa que nos move. No Grupo L'Oréal, nós criamos a beleza com sustentabilidade. Utilizamos em nossas embalagens 85% de plástico PET de origem reciclada. 65% dos ingredientes vieram de base biológica ou derivados de minerais abundantes. Grupo L'Oréal, nós criamos a beleza que move o mundo.
All right. Hey, welcome to the session. Only our second session live from the studio in 2 years. Our second session of 2022. I'm your host. You remember me, Justin Crosley. I was on the show way back when. Since then, Bevo and JP have been holding down the fort for me until about a week ago. Oh, there's that studio failing on me again. I'm happy to be back. We've got in-studio guests once again, people who are no longer afraid to be in a room with other humans, which I'm excited about. So I've invited friends into the studio. First off, my very good friend, I'm so happy to see you back in a chair here in the studio, Teresa Pasuti from Crooked Lane.
Welcome you, Justin. Back. I am obviously so glad to be back. I'm actually floating just above my chair right now.
I can see that. You look taller.
It's an incredible feeling.
To be back. Yeah.
Yes. I mean, it's been my hope and dream for all this time.
Is that right? Now I can tell you're lying.
Absolutely.
But it is. But I am very happy to have you back with me here in the studio.
Honestly, I'm so jazzed to be here.
Good. Yeah, I thought that maybe we'd have to wait longer, but finally I was like, you know what? No. We're getting back in the studio. And then as an encouragement, my friends from Arizona Wilderness Brewing Company agreed with my decision. They were willing to travel from Arizona out here to the Bay to be in the studio. So I would like to please welcome Arizona Wilderness to the studio. First off, you've never met her on the show, even though you've met a couple of the people from Arizona here, but Johanna Lortscher, who is the head of people and culture at Arizona Wilderness. Johanna, welcome.
Thank you so much. It's great to be here.
I'm really glad to meet you. I learned in our pre-show interview that you used to live right here in Concord, California.
I did for a little bit, yeah.
That was awesome. Your husband's from here, but born and raised.
Born and raised.
So we got to commiserate over some old dive bars that we used to frequent, which I always liked that.
Yeah.
And then, so also from my other old stomping grounds in the desert. We've got Jonathan Buford and Patrick Ware from Arizona Wilderness, both with us today. Jonathan is the founder and founder guy, I think is the title he likes mostly. Is that what you'd use sometimes?
Terms,
yeah. And Patrick Ware, who's also co-owner and head of brewing operations, is here with us. And thanks for getting us beer, Patrick.
I guess I did that.
You did that, yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
You just take credit. It's fine.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah. I don't do shows anymore. Years ago, we would do a show with or without beer. We were just happy to have guests. But a few years ago, I told Bevo, I was like, you know what? If we invite them, everybody says yes, and they don't send us beer, cancel that shit. We're not doing it.
Oh, yeah.
What am I going to talk about? Of course, we're going to talk about plenty of other things, but I want to talk about the thing that you do.
You were the first canceller. That's amazing.
I invented cancel. Yeah. Oh, my God. Among a lot of other horrible things I've probably invented, cancel was one of them. So thank you for getting us beer, and we're going to talk about that today.
Oh, yeah.
Now, Arizona Wilderness Brewing Company, obviously from Arizona, but The original pub and brewery is Gilbert?
Yeah.
Okay, because I was...
Bustling town.
Of Gilbert, Arizona, which is a suburb of Phoenix, right? Yes. I mean, it's right next door.
It's as Caucasian as it sounds.
Okay.
It's a suburb of Phoenix that doesn't have a ton of diversity.
Okay.
Good people, good folk.
What's the desert? I mean, that's what happens.
but we went to downtown Phoenix in our second location and kind of lived the dream that we wanted to diversify who drinks at our places. So
Okay.
it's a good dichotomy.
Though Gilbert does have a lot of small local farms.
Yes.
So that
it does.
inspired some of the brewing practices that we have now.
Excellent. So Gilbert's the one that I was just at, the original brew pub. I was
Yeah.
there back in November. Stopped a beautiful, like 80-degree November day
Yes.
in the desert. Reminded me of being a kid when I was never cold. Here in the Bay, that's different.
You still look tan.
Thank you. Yeah, I have that like leather desert skin that you
Yep.
get when you grow up in the desert.
It starts at like 7 years old, and by 12, you look like you've been in the desert on a bike for years.
It does. Like staff likes to make fun of me sometimes, like, "Oh, Justin's been on vacation again." I'm like, guys, it's this way every day of my life. It doesn't get darker or lighter.
You're so healthy, though. I don't get
Is
it.
that what it looks like? I'm pulling that off well, then. That's good. And then, okay, so the Phoenix location, and I've been there too. That's the kind of the beer garden. That's like the big old beer garden.
Yeah, that's the one where we traveled a lot. You know, we all kind of went to these international beer festivals and kept noticing a trend of giving people space to drink and talk,
Yeah.
and less staff, corralling people.
Okay.
And more like, hey, just come in and enjoy a pint. So you can tell our maturity between the two.
Keep it simple though.
Yep.
Like that is like the age-old model, and we have half of that here. So like our outside is just community tables,
Yeah.
and we
Beautiful
want to. We want to.
location, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank
Beautiful.
you.
Well
Yeah.
done.
I was talking about it before. It used to be a coffee shop, and I've grown up all around here, and so yeah, we looked for a good year at all kinds of awful locations.
Isn't that fun?
And Johanna, I'm sorry, what's your husband's name once more?
Steve.
Steve, do you remember Time Out, the dive bar around the corner?
The first underage place I went to and got drunk.
Okay, yeah. So Time Out was everybody's favorite dive bar. I probably bought more drugs there than I care to talk about. But I also used to, when I was a musician, we used to play in bands there. That's right around the corner. And I looked at that as a location too, because Time Out finally went out of business. But it needed so many renovations that it was not in my budget.
stench
And
that would-
it was awful.
I
Yeah,
had to take out some
you.
big under.
Yeah, I don't know if you can hear Steve off mic, but he knows what a disaster it was. I mean, the only bonus would have been I probably could have sold a lot of the cocaine that we swept up from the carpet.
I wish they could have seen his smile when you brought it up. He was like, oh, Time Out. Oh, I know. Oh, yeah.
Well,
Great Long Island.
so I passed on it. It's now a beautiful brewery. I'll give him a little plug right now, too, actually. Sidegate Brewery just opened in Concord. Only the third, I think, brewery in the city. And really cool spot. And they did all the renovations, and now it's gorgeous. So anyway, I'm glad I didn't take it. I couldn't afford that. We chose this one, and it's our home.
You're doing well.
Thanks, buddy. I appreciate that. Okay, well, we've got a lot to talk about today. I did want to welcome back to the studio Bevo real quick, because I don't know that anybody's heard from her in a little while. I feel like you abandoned JP on his shows when he was doing the Zoom shows, too. Is your mic not on? Oh, there we go.
Yeah, no. Can you blame me?
No, I don't blame you.
Okay.
Yeah, Zoom was Zoom malicious for about 5 minutes, and then
Yeah.
And then it was rough.
It was rough.
I did abandon him, but he didn't really need me.
No, you're probably just sitting there staring into the camera the whole
Exactly.
time.
I think he told me once I had dead eyes, and I was like, all right, I don't need to be here anymore.
Wow.
Is Bevo a chosen nickname?
Justin came up with it, 15 years ago.
Yeah, you were like 10.
I was. Oh, you're cute. Yeah, no, he just came up with it and it stuck.
But it
Okay.
did-
I hated it for a minute, and then I was like, but it's fine.
I was wondering that
whatever.
because it doesn't seem like, can you please just call me Bevo?
Yeah. Well, and it does depend. I pretty much introduce her as Bevo to almost everybody, unless we're like working with the city or something,
Yeah.
like on our beer fest.
Yeah.
That's the only time in her whole life I'm ever like, oh, this is Beverly.
How many
My
times do you think someone thought Bevo was like a drunk guy that you were going to bring along?
Probably, yeah. Well, and I've gotten in trouble in the past. People who don't know the show, they're like, oh, he's so disrespectful. And Bevo and I are like, we're practically best friends. We're like almost married. She's married, but if she wasn't, she's also unfortunately married to me.
She's like your weird brother.
She's my weird brother. Yeah.
I'm also his weird brother.
Exactly.
100%.
Exactly.
Like,
Yeah.
there's no, like...
Yeah.
Well, honestly, when I met you guys, I felt a kindred spirit about this because my main name is Beavers.
Oh, right.
So my coach used to call me the Beeve or Beeves. And I was like, oh, Bevo, I know where you're at. Like, I get that. I get the shame / pride of being a Beeve.
Right.
So...
Well, and I'll call her Beeve and Beaver with zero. There are no connotations from here. It's just a nickname. No. And then I've gotten in trouble for that. They're like, oh, my God, I can't believe that he calls her Beaver. And I'm like, first of all, listen for 5 more minutes.
Your brain is the one that's in the gutter, not ours, because that's not what you're saying.
Man, great question, Jonathan.
Well, hey, it's been on my mind.
I know, and we can all rest assured, like, they're not as dirtbaggy as they seem.
Right. Not all the time, anyway. Yeah. Okay. So I did just want to do a quick check-in with you, Beef. Things going okay? The family's all right? People want to know.
Sorry, I'm still trying to remember how the studio works.
Yeah, that's okay.
Things are great. We all got COVID.
Oh, you did?
But
just
we all
recently,
recovered nicely.
did you get this new one?
We got the
Decepticon?
new one. Yeah. I think that's what Sam calls it. No, he calls it Megatron.
Megatron, yeah.
Megatron. Yeah, we all got Megatron. It was fine.
Yeah.
We all recovered nicely. We're doing great.
Okay.
Happy to be out of the house. I felt like I was grounded.
Can I talk about Sam a little bit and his life decisions? So, oh no, you want to leave that off the air?
I don't really care.
You don't care? Are you sure?
Get death threats, but
he doesn't care.
He don't give a crap.
So, and I don't. Whatever your feelings are, I don't really care. But Sam won't vaccinate. And he's not like an anti-vaxxer, right? Like I think your kids probably have.
He's just lazy,
right? He's just he actually I yelled at him for like 3 hours one night getting drunk about it, and he never could give me a real answer. And anyway, I'm not gonna lie. When they got the Omicron, there was a little part of me that wanted him to die. Just a little part so that I could say I told you so. I just wanted to be like, you see, Sam? I would have, and I would have done it. I would have done it at the funeral, Bevo. I would have been that guy. I would have been right there and said, I told you so.
How do you respond to that? Like, we all have that little part, I get it.
But like all the way to dead, it couldn't be like in the hospital and then...
Okay.
Yeah,
ventilator,
all the way
maybe?
to dead. Him on a ventilator and then recovered.
Yeah, close to death, not full death.
Johanna, I'm glad you asked that question.
Sam,
because
I'm glad you're alive.
I'm slow with my feelings. So I'm giving you my initial feelings were definitely, man, I just kind of hope he croaks, because then I could win.
And then you're truly married to Bevo.
But then I could marry Bevo.
Okay,
right,
I see where this is going.
But I will say, as time evolved, when I finally saw Bevo today, I did alter my wishes, and I said, well, I just wish he had some, like, awful side effect that stuck around, like a limp arm, or he can't see out of one eye. Like, something that I would just be able to make fun of him for forever.
Would be hilarious.
That would be hilarious. Really at the top of my list.
I know what you were thinking.
It's literally what he said. I don't know why he edited himself for the show.
Limp arm. Well, all right. I'm glad you and your family are healthy, Bevo. There just was a little part of me that wanted to, be able to tell Sam I told you so.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure you're going to have the opportunity to say you told him so about something.
Right.
At some point.
Eventually. I'm glad you're safe. I'm happy to see you back in the studio, Beav. Last week's show wasn't the same without you, mostly because I don't know how to work this camera stuff.
Apparently me either.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's dive into... let's just start with beer, shall we? That's the easiest thing to do. Arizona Wilderness was kind enough to get us 5 different beers. They're all on tap here at the Hop Grenade, so if you're local, come on down. And we're going to start with a beer called Don't Fuck It Up.
Yeah.
That's the one on the left, they told me.
On the left.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great beer name. Patrick, what is Don't Fuck It Up?
Don't Fuck It Up. So Don't Fuck It Up as a beer it's 100% Sinagua malt, which is our base malt that we use.
Okay.
We can go into the story of Sinagua.
We can use this to talk about your culture, because you guys, and I used to make fun of you guys for this before I knew you, right? Because you're into...
How fucking good looking we are. You used to throw it all around.
Yeah, best looking guys in beer. Jerks. Local ingredients, local farms. See, my desert was different. We didn't have farms in my desert, but in your desert, you do.
Yeah.
And so I was taken aback when I heard about your company ethos years ago.
Yes.
That you guys had you were growing barley right there in Arizona.
Yeah,
which is in this
show
beer.
Is 2
That's
hours because this one needs to be told not just for our purposes and ego and what we're doing, but I believe it's a blueprint model of what you have to do in the Southwest. Okay. I mean, it would be nice to say all breweries across the country are doing this. It's two-tone. It's connect the local community like hundreds of years ago, craft beer would have been called beer.
Yeah, just beer.
And beer would have been truly your community's flavor.
You wouldn't even have added local to it. It's still just beer.
I don't
of
think
course it was local.
King Henry was like only local beer. but it is true. We do need to connect back to our breweries should be a gateway to connection. And then, let's be honest, we're fucking it up. So Sinagua is a beautiful story that involves the Nature Conservancy. And they had never really done this before, worked with the brewery directly.
Is that the name of the farm?
No, the Nature Conservancy, actually the international conservation-based company it's got the ear of the president, it's got the ear of a lot of states, government, and they buy land specifically, manage it, and then sell it to somebody that they approve. And they have major donors, like billionaires would be donating to them.
Okay.
So they generally don't have a vested interest in coming to a brewery that's in a small, to them a small market of beer drinkers. But
I see.
We, because of our passion for the state, they noticed that and said, hey, we have some questions for you about a program we want to have. We have a farm in central Arizona, which has a river called the Verde River. Mm-hmm. Means green.
Got it.
And we would like to switch farms from cotton, alfalfa, and corn, which are traditional crops grown in the area, and they happen to be grown in the worst times of year when the river water's needed. We would like to switch those farmers over to a lower water intensive crop. Now we're 2.5 years in.
They reached out to you about this.
Yes. Yeah.
So to rewind a little bit, an employee of ours actually worked for the Nature Conservancy and introduced us to Kim Schoenig, who runs the Verde Valley. And her whole purpose is to save water in the Verde Valley. So what she noticed was, hey, I'm riding my kayak in the river during the summer, and I have to drag it over rocks.
Oh, yeah.
Which is cliche Arizona. You would think, it's normal, right?
Yeah.
No, it's actually not.
Sounds like the desert to me.
It's not normal. And what happens is it actually raises the water temperature in the river. So the fish don't spawn, the birds don't show up, and all these terrible things happen. So what her job was to try to find economic solutions to put water back in the river and get the water flow back. So,
AKA don't have the farmer lose money, because that'll end quickly.
Yeah.
Right.
Of course. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So several problems to solve and not kill a farmer.
Yeah.
At the
So
same time.
we hear this, and I this could go on too long, and I think
I'll cut you off as soon as we get
good.
there.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
You're all right. So far, you're okay.
Passion project, but I'll speed it up for digestible story tidbits. But you've gotten us. You understand where we're coming from. That we care. This group approaches us, but there's still this malt house, and anyone understands malt. You can't. You can't send off locally grown malt to Admiral Malt or up to the Skagit Valley. Would be just as dumb as buying it from
Sure, shipping it back and forth.
Yeah, but we actually did.
So
do
there was
that.
no malt house initially.
Yeah, we did do that just to
malt.
test to see the protein analysis, the boring
Makes sense.
stuff.
Yeah,
we did that. Came back, brewed the first beer. You'll never guess, no one gave a shit, but our staff did and our brewers did, and so that's really what we learned quickly is your brewers will start to care a lot when you are living to the standards that you say. There's a lot of companies saying we're doing these things, and the brewers are like, we're not really doing those things.
Yeah.
So we get that back, and we had the meeting, and it's like, we can't do this anymore. They see the financial impact, and by the way, the gas mileage back and forth. I went to Blacklands Malt, which is in Austin, and if you do the mileage, it's not really ethical or sustainable to do that. But we had kind of given our point across. We would be on board if you could figure this out. Well, this guy shows up named Chip, and Chip's like, I got the money for a malt house.
Oh, wow.
Okay, that's a lot.
Yeah.
And then you got to run it. Yeah, I have a background in engineering. I can do this. Okay.
The same guy?
Same guy.
Wow.
Happens to love the Verde River.
Okay.
Everyone loves a certain, a lot of outdoors people identify with a mountain or a river. Verde is definitely right through the heart of Arizona. And if you know it, you love it. So Chip's
It's the last wild and scenic river.
Okay.
Yeah, designated by Congress as wild and scenic, which is similar to the wilderness designation.
It's the highest designation for a river.
Why is it not Arizona Wild and Scenic Brewing Company?
I like that.
Want to know?
Yeah, I mean,
It would have to be on the river, though, right?
Yeah, Arizona Mountain Scenic.
Yeah. Also, I'm thinking about this guy, and of course, the river's his passion. But there are cheaper ways to not pick up your kayak across the rock. And drag it like however far you got to go before the river's good again. But he's really into this river.
He's fucking into
Yeah,
it.
really
okay,
like
yeah.
it.
Well, he's creating a sustainable solution for
Yeah.
this problem.
Yeah.
Yes, and he's like, he sounds like Sam Elliott, so it really helps
amazing.
for any marketing.
Oh, man.
It's just like,
Oh, that's amazing.
when I
Why didn't you
was
bring him
thinking about the
too?
river
Yeah.
dying. I know.
I've got
Well,
a
it would have
really
been a
good vision of
4-hour
him.
podcast.
Yeah. Well, he's no fun. I mean,
Slow talking.
he's going to talk about how hard it was to do what he did. Long story short, again,
Okay.
it didn't go exactly like he thought, but he got it going. Like a lot of breweries. He
Yeah.
thought, I could do this on my own. Do I need that auger? No, I'm going to cherry lift and do it. And the extract sucked.
Okay.
For us on the brewing end, it wasn't exactly great. We had to give them feedback that we're not getting, the brewing efficiency that we were looking for. And we had to work with them. If you looked at on paper how much money we spent and lost on this, it's significant.
Okay.
However, 3 years into this, or going on 4 years into this, we now know it's about 120 million gallons of water that we save per year with Sinagua, which means without water.
Wow.
And it's at the base of every beer, but don't fuck it up is a real...
Are you guys the only one buying this malt coming out of this malt house now?
We are the primary buyer.
Okay.
There are 2 other breweries that also buy it in the States, Sedona Beer and Wren House.
Okay.
Big
So-
shout out to them for taking the leap because it's 25 cents more per pound.
Well, and that's always the thing. You got to be willing
Right.
to do it. Same with Admiral. You mentioned Admiral here in the Bay Area. Yeah, you got to be willing to spend more for that.
Yeah. Shout out to
But
Admiral
it's
for all
worth
the work they
it.
do. Yep.
We were able to buffer the cost in a little bit by saying to customers, like, we did a little analysis with them. Hey, if we were able to accomplish this task, it would add, 25, 50 cents to a pint. Would you be willing to pay that?
Mm-hmm.
And it was an overwhelming yes. So we just kind of took that leap of faith and said,
Okay.
we're going to do it.
Yeah.
100%.
And is the idea to grow it even further, to get this malt house growing more, or is it just to have kind of a community cycle that works for the breweries that are there?
I would love all Arizona breweries to see the positive effects of it, but I know that's ridiculous to say, hey, spend more. What we're doing is going to grow our company around these ethical values of the companies we choose.
Okay. Yeah.
There is a goal, though, to grow with them. And that's always been our mentality is when you find a farmer or somebody that you've worked with and you can grow as they grow, that's the best case scenario because you're both learning together. And with Sinagua, they're now working with local tribes to grow Sonoran white wheat as well. And they're talking about organic plots. We're talking with Kim about using different grains, similar to that of the one that Hub's using with Patagonia, the Kernza wheat that has a 15-foot root stock. These are the best possible solutions for some of the climate issues that we have.
And that's, again, blueprint model is what I say all the time. We'd like this to be something where if you look at like the Greg Cooks or any, Vinny, anyone who laid the foundation of making great beer, we'd like to take that torch, not calling Vinny old. You're not old, Vinny.
Yeah.
No, you are. But we'd like to take that torch a little bit and then pass it down to the next generation. Say, here's another thing to think about. Now that there's 9,000 of us, we should be part of the community again and less about this hype thing of baseball trading cards is what I call it, and more of we are a community outpost, so represent your community. And I think there's no finer way of doing that than taking the local farm and adapting your beer to them.
Sure.
So don't fuck it up that's the base malt. All of our beers use Sinagua, but don't fuck it up also is a message. We kind of look at it as you need to be direct right now. And as we talked about before the show, it could be a wasteland real quick if we don't pay attention to the things we are fucking up. Because some people call it leave no trace. We chose don't fuck it up. To be direct, we just want to be direct.
Yeah. Well, and the timing is right for several reasons, but one of them that I'm thinking of, especially if you want to lead by example, is it's a lot of brewers talk now, but it's hard to become a large regional brewery. In fact, we might not see many of those for the next couple decades. Like, your Sierra Nevadas of the world, your New Belgiums. Sierra Nevada at least is still, them, still independent. That's not going to happen so much. What is going to continue to happen is small local breweries opening up. That is still a great business model. It's still a great way to make and serve beer. And so it fits with what you're talking about. Because the smaller you are, the easier it is to buy into these things.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, of course, Sierra Nevada, I think, has done some on a large scale done things to follow this path too.
They don't
but
get
that's not
talked
going to
about
happen
enough
also.
on this topic.
Right. I remember years ago we had him on, and I learned about how they put in a rail spur in a local in order to get their grains delivered because they couldn't, or at least it wasn't the path they went. They were buying grains from far away, but found that they could reduce costs, emissions, everything by putting in their own rail spur at the brewery so that it could be delivered by rail instead of truck to the brewery. And at the quantities that they were dealing with at that point, it was really, and there was no marketing campaign for them around this, just like you guys. It's just an internal decision that they made that I eked out in some interview. They mentioned a train at one point, and I was like, wait, what?
The engineer logic mind's like, but it's more efficient. And you're like, yeah, that also, if every brewery did that, we would eliminate the carbon we output.
Yeah, and he knew all those facts, by the way. Ken, I started prying, and he's like, oh, yeah, no, we saved something like 4 trillion. But, 4 trillion pounds of CO2. And he just said it like it was nothing. And I was like, slow down. What just happened?
Good on them.
So anyhow, I'm just making the point, though, that small breweries are going to continue to be on the rise. And so you are making this is a great example.
And we're not perfect. We are still learning. So we're more or less just saying, here's how we do it and consider these things. Not follow us maybe 10 years from now.
Sure.
Little help from Johanna on culture, company culture.
We're going to talk about that.
Yeah. But
I do have to ask, is there more water in the river now?
Yes, there is.
Okay. There was a significant, I know you gave that, you talked about how much you saved, but I want to know. Can the kayak go over the rocks now?
I invite you to come in June.
This might not be just us, right? It's Kim and what she's done, with all the ditches and the automatic gates and getting things off of flood and onto drip. She's done an amazing job. We're just part of that solution. And what she likes about our story is it's a great example to show the greater Nature Conservancy and donors and everybody, here is an economically viable way to fix an issue. And that works in business also. It's not just a conservancy thing.
Okay.
Well, I'm going to jump in and say, when I hear a beer is called Don't Fuck It Up, I'm thinking it's some great beer style, Don't Fuck It Up, meaning
a delicate style to make.
Style. We did this really well. And this is so much more meaningful. I honestly think you guys should have a Don't Fuck It Up collab and send it out to the world and be every brewery, brew your most sustainable beer. Use all local ingredients. Use,
I like it.
That's a good idea.
Use your local maltster. Do this beer.
Yeah.
I love that.
It's so much more meaningful than what I thought it was. So I'm super delighted.
Well, and with Admiral here, a bunch of breweries could do it here. I know that in Fort Collins, there's a maltster too. Gosh, I'm forgetting the name right now.
Troubadour.
Thank you,
Troubadour.
Troubadour. So it is something that a lot of places across the country could really do.
North Carolina, capital.
Okay,
that's a beautiful idea. COVID's gotten away of some of these fun, creative things, but it's coming back around. And what you said means a lot to me is when you hear the name, I don't get it. That's why our company's so complicated.
Well, but
a
it
lot
also
of these things you
sounds really well for the
that's what's
normal
so
person.
great
It's a
about
double
getting out and telling
entendre.
your story.
Yeah.
And it's awesome. It's really cool.
Well, tell us more about the beer before I finish it.
So
what is it? A honey blonde ale?
It's a honey blonde, but what's kind of unique about it is it's actually foeder fermented.
Okay. I thought there's a little farmhousey, little funky.
Yeah. And so we don't control the temperature on it, and then it's raw local honey. So whatever the season is for that honey, we add that in kind of secondary fermentation. And so you get this kind of almost cidery, a little acidity type of note on the end.
Yeah.
So it's a honey blonde, but it's more than honey blonde.
Yeah.
But you can, for your light beer drinker, they can engage in it as well.
Heck yeah. Yeah, there's just a little bit extra to it, and I don't want to call it funk. So years ago, my friends in France introduced me to what they call natural wine. And natural wine is where, right? It's natural wine, but it's because they're not so strict about the fermentation and sulfites and stuff. And so this natural wine still tastes like wonderful wine, but it's got a little bit of farmhouse to it, which is not acceptable in Napa, right? But in France, it's totally acceptable. They have to label it as such. And that's what this reminds me of, because there's just that hint of, it just tastes more natural.
Yeah, I think it's reminiscent of some of the way that we brew as a brewery, because we want to mirror almost the wilderness ethics, right? The idea that it's unkempt and it's kind of natural in its own state.
Yeah.
We would love that be our only way that we made beer, just let it wildly ferment, but that doesn't really work with our business model.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we can get into Camp Coolship and some of those spontaneous beers and the idea behind that. But
this is just a hint of
this
that.
isn't everyday, you know.
The honey's special, too. We like to source...
this is a draft beer, too. I mean,
well, that's another thing, is you know how draft beer works these days. It's a moneymaker. Cans are getting harder to get the labor to come in.
And your average person comes in and we get feedback from the staff that's like, don't fuck me up. Give me the fuck me up beer. You know, they miss the whole conservation
fans
thing.
right around March.
That's right.
Yeah.
Johanna, did they have to consult you about "Don't Fuck It Up" as a name, or is this stuff? This is like
No, this predates me by a long
okay.
time.
So you inherited this problem, is what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay.
All of this problem. Hey, by the way, Sully just texted me. He must be watching.
Oh, he did.
Which he's saying, why didn't you text me?
Yeah, Sully, check your text messages, bro.
Yeah.
Because I did.
Fuck yeah.
So you're not just making it a honey ale.
The honey in this also has a story.
Okay, but I do want to ask.
Yeah.
You know, 805, which has now taken over the world, started out as a honey ale. Is this some way that you guys are like, oh, who's going to make this beer? It'll be fun. And then we're going to rename it something amazing.
How do we answer
Although I don't know how it gets better than Don't Fuck It Up. And take over the world? That's not what you're doing here?
We will not be taking over the world.
Okay.
Do we occasionally engage in corporate espionage from Firestone Walker? Oh, yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Do I love David to death and want to be him? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But
you got to run 5 miles a day.
Oh, my God. Is that his thing?
Yep.
Damn it. That's never happening.
Yeah.
He's so much better looking than everybody.
Yeah.
His accent is just amazing.
Sipping wine in his backyard's not so
he's
bad.
He's got better
either.
hair than us. He's better looking than Patrick, for God's sake. And Patrick's like your calendar guy.
I don't know. Yeah.
He's charming, though.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Pat
he's got that.
with a glass of wine.
Yeah, you're not charming at all. Pat.
No.
You don't have that. Tell me about this honey.
Real quick, though, 805. I did stand on a brew stand with Matt and David and just... They explained, like, this thing took us by storm. So it'd be nice to be taken by storm by this.
Yeah.
And yes, we probably did say before the blow up, this 805 thing's really cool. But we wanted to
We
go.
saw the billboards in Phoenix, too.
Yeah.
Everywhere, right?
Yeah, there were unique billboards.
I have
was
a
like,
motorcycle.
David,
That's
this doesn't
cool.
seem like you're. Yeah.
I like black and white photos.
Oh, man, I wanted to be a cowboy once. That's
We get the lowriders. So we have lowrider billboards. And I'm like, what market are you going after here, guys? But
I love it.
But the honey is very, on a serious note, the bee thing is very serious in the Southwest as well.
Okay.
No water means no bees because the trees don't pollinate as much. And sorry, California, but the California almond harvest comes up a lot where they're pulling bees over, they're coming back and not wanting to pollinate. So we like to choose local honey sources because it's so easy. It's not that much more expensive, and you learn a shit ton about bees.
And this is from a beekeeper, obviously, is kind of what you're saying, right?
Yep.
Like, these aren't like, migratory bees, per
Correct.
se. Okay. Yeah.
They would call them local Sonoran honeybees. But it's a company called Rango Honey, and they take their profits and work with kids with autism and
adults with autism.
And adults with autism. Now,
Give
this
them jobs
altruistic.
and
It's just like Don't Fuck It Up has this whole what we'd like to be encompassed in one beer.
Yeah.
And it also is working for sales. It's crazy.
Yeah, sure.
So it's the one that
delicious beer too.
Yeah,
It's
it doesn't hurt that it's an awesome beer.
Yeah.
I mean, all those things aside, like, it's super solid.
appreciate it.
Also, because I'm going to avoid a honey beer on tap. Like, in my own place, I'm like, I don't know.
I'm all about honey beer.
Well, this one I am all about.
Don't you think when you hear honey beer, you're suspicious if there's honey in it? Because it could be Gambrinus honey malt, right?
Yeah, true.
Or like it's just like syrup that you bought in a drum and you poured it in. That's where, again, we get into the story-based stuff. You have to have really passionate servers who care about this story because it's like, don't just hand this to somebody without explaining a little bit of this.
Well, right down to the name. Like we already were like, oh, but the name is so much more, and then now the honey is so much more, and the malt is so much more. Yeah, it has to be talked about.
Actually, the name was a easy story of a kid that worked for us. I call him a kid. I love that.
Conrad.
I'm old enough now.
Yeah, we all are. Yeah, man.
Connie was like he worked at Other Half Brewing Company in Brooklyn, and we love Other Half, tight with them, and he just so happened to be coming out west. Gets there and he's like, hey, I want to experience the West. What's a good hiking trail? I tell him a couple. On his way out the door, he's like, anything else? And I go, just don't fuck it up.
Yeah.
Everyone in the room's like,
right.
Check. You know, that
T-shirt,
board, make
it a hat, all the things. Yeah, that's
So
great.
it's a moment of purity, this beer. It just kind of came together.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
Okay, before we move on, because we're going to talk a lot more about your company culture and your ethos, but I'm not even exactly sure how to ask this, and I don't know that you can answer me honestly, but I'm going to try. When you guys thought of starting this company, was it all based on see how happy the fans are out there? Like, oh my
The
God,
Woo Girls
Start the company.
Amazing.
in favor.
Were you entrepreneurs first and thought like, hey, I really need a career and I need to make some money? And then you sort of started plugging in this ethos.
You're silly.
And I'm not saying that you're, and I'm not trying to imply that the answer to this it means you're fake or that you're disingenuous. I don't mean that, but I am curious. Did you sit around with your business plan and go, listen, I really want to change the way people do business. I want to change the way people make beer. Or did you want to make beer and the rest was kind of secondary? Do you see what I'm getting at here?
No, 100%.
And I don't know that people are ever honest about this because you guys are serious about it. And I just want to know if you always were or you fell into it that way. I don't know.
One, I'm the luckiest guy in the world. Married to a wonderful woman who had my back. You know, that's important.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. Not even to think money. I was thinking about how do you put together a business plan.
At all, yeah.
Yeah, and I had a window cleaning business, but let's be clear here.
You look like a window cleaner.
Great. I take that as a compliment.
Yeah.
The idea of that was like starting in my garage because I didn't want to work for the man.
Sure.
You know?
So that was something to do.
I wouldn't call
but
that.
you wouldn't.
Yeah,
you're not like there's no passion
it's
there.
Like your garage days. Like you weren't. Were you thinking of money?
No, but I didn't want to have a real job. I'll give you that.
Right.
I didn't want to have. Yeah.
That was the window cleaning days.
Yeah.
And then came John Palmer How to Brew.
Okay.
It was a gift for Christmas, and I just boom. And it wasn't about brewing for me. It probably was more about the story-based side. So if you go to my Kickstarter video, you can definitely see the real me.
Okay.
I just heard about this Kickstarter thing and said, wow, that's unique. You're asking for money online.
Yeah. And you're not selling porn.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I
Amazing.
kept my clothes on.
Yeah.
But you'll see that I look all these 10 years later, which is crazy to think, but I'm very proud of saying I want to be a conduit for the community. It feels political, like I sound like I'm running for mayor, but truly, I think the brewery, that's our place, is the conduit for the community.
So your connection, you're answering exactly what I was hoping you would, or in a way that I was hoping you would. The beer was a conduit for it helped you start to realize the connection you wanted to make. That's really the question I'm asking. It wasn't like, oh no, I just really want to make beer, and then if we can do cool things.
I took my wife's 401k, and it was a fucking gamble. I mean, I did Kickstarter and bought a piece of shit Grundy that had a hot box welded on the bottom in Billings, Montana, and drove it back.
Okay.
And I called
that was the bane of my existence, man.
Yeah.
I hated that.
You guys were friends before?
No.
Oh.
He wasn't impressed.
We were doppelgangers.
I see. Okay.
I was, honestly, this whole time I'm like, are they related somehow? Because like the profile is almost the same. Like
doppelgangers.
Yeah, literally.
We didn't know each other.
We had been called each other a lot, and he
in the same town. So
he brewed up the road, and he wasn't so impressed with just another brewery because he's like, you should see what you really like to work in a brewery.
Yeah.
And I was like, you should see what it's like to be creative again, back and forth.
Okay.
And what sealed the deal. To get into that story real quick.
You are an antagonist like that, Jonathan. And I mean this in a good way.
Yeah.
I can see you challenging him like, don't just write me off like that.
Yeah.
How about this? What about think about this?
Stupid things though, Justin, like you're going to work for me one day. I meant to say
with me.
I want
me off.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Wasn't into that.
That's a dick move, yeah.
I'm gonna lasso you to my business.
Yeah, and okay, we're all 28, 29, and and we
there's a lot of Union Jacks that were being consumed.
Yep. Yep. But that it's kind of fill in the gaps of how we met. Sorry, I'm taking
That's
over
okay.
your podcast
No.
completely.
You're all right.
Is this a podcast, by the way?
Fuck you, man. It's a live. I've resorted to calling it a podcast. Now that podcasts are popular.
Yeah, you could just say my cast.
Yeah.
But we meet, and he, the Kickstarter thing was kind of known in Phoenix. It was the second ever Kickstarter with a brewery.
Okay.
And it was getting steam, and I bought Tippy, the more
From More Beer, the Tippy Dump System.
The Tippy Dump System. Thank you.
Yeah.
What a fucking system! All these years later, we were just talking like we got to get that back.
Heck yeah.
That was the best manufactured thing I can imagine.
Yeah, they're great.
And
Morebeer.com.
Morebeer.com.
Yeah,
I think I went there once and somehow did that. But we had a lot of we needed to connect, and I brought him to the Bay Area.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, we got to go see this thing. And he looked out the window.
It was like 9 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay,
It feels like 1,000, but he had been in the back of a brewery just working hard.
Toiling away. Yeah.
Toiling away as you did 10 years ago.
Yeah.
90 hours a week was normal. Going, this is an option. Like, I can drink the beer too. And that's where a lot of this, passion came from.
And then you found you had the same sort of ethos and passion for the environment and sustainability that your brewery at the time, we don't have to name it, but clearly wasn't fulfilling that side of you.
No. Well, I grew up in an entrepreneurial environment. My mom owned a shop, and so I had that inside of me.
Yeah.
I was like, I want to be a part of that. So that was the end goal, even working in a brewery initially, which is most brewers' goal, right? Is I want to open my own brewery.
Yeah.
And so John presented something that was actually, you know what? I think the trip here was big for me, but the first backpack that he took me
It was
on.
so romantic. So romantic.
The first
Can you
backpacking
tell us about the
trip.
6-pack around the neck?
Yeah. Tell the 6-pack story. He wasn't ready for this backpack, and which I love now in
And the
hindsight.
JanSport?
He's like, I can go. I'm outdoors. I can do this, John. He shows up. We were going into a canyon. Again, Justin, there's some things in Arizona that you'd be surprised with, canyons with water and all these wonderful things.
Yeah.
He shows up like, I can do this. Those 5-finger toe things that, since has been sued because they were so uncomfortable.
Those socks, those awful socks, yeah.
Yes,
yeah.
and a 6-pack right here on his backpack. No tent or sleeping
tent.
bag.
What?
Nothing.
And he's like,
I just had an Old Navy jacket.
Yeah.
Had you been
Love
before and you're
No.
just that hardcore, or you
No,
didn't know
never,
shit? I see.
had never done it, yeah.
Okay.
And this was swimming. You're like swimming 300-yard pools, and it was
wow.
Yeah. And apparently,
a waterfall at the end. And
what time of year was that?
It was
March?
June. No, it had
Oh,
was it
God.
June?
Yeah.
June.
Look, I'm
In
a
Arizona?
I can't handle that heat in June.
But
Holy
then at
crap.
night,
At night it dropped to like 45, right?
Yeah.
In the
right.
canyon.
yeah, I get in my really expensive sleeping bag, as you do.
Some jean
And
jacket on.
He's like cracking
I'm
low fills
shivering
from the
by
canning
the
line that
fire.
day. Like, I'll be fine. That's the first real night we fell in love.
and you're saying that's what did it for you?
That's what did it for me.
He's
Wow.
like,
I
love the
I'm
pain.
all in. I'm
You like-
jumping
Yeah.
all in this sleeping bag right now.
That's right. yeah.
You felt alive. You felt
Yeah.
connected.
Brokeback
Yes.
was hot back then. It was just
Yeah.
like this brewery.
Well, I think the industry made a lot of young men pretty masochistic at that point.
Sure.
Because it was brutality at all times.
Okay. Just you mean in the brew house, just hard work and
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
It was who had the bravado to make it through this chaos.
yeah,
Who could lift the thing the highest and scream the loudest. I mean, that was the culture I came from.
sure. That's not just the brewing industry. That was culture I came up with in other jobs that I've had before this. Used to change tires for a living and that sort of bravado. Thank God that's waning, right?
Yes.
At least starting to wane.
It
But
is.
I
I
can
think
see
a
your
lot
point.
of men can collectively breathe and be themselves and
Yeah.
not have to.
Put the keg down, for goodness
Yeah, I mean, there's a dolly over there, idiot. I remember, why wasn't that the saying all the time? There's a hand truck right there, moron. But no, it was like, I can lift them
Yeah,
both.
you remember that
I'll
that
take
unnamed
2
character?
kegs.
We had an unnamed character who would lift kegs up to the keg
God,
washer, and Pat's like, "You'll be here for 2 weeks."
Yeah, right. Yeah. And then a disability claim.
Yes.
So
that
Not in
story
Arizona.
never happened at Arizona Wilderness. That was somewhere else.
okay, I got to move us forward just a bit
Yeah.
because I want to take us to a break, and then we're going to dive right back in. But we've got another beer to talk about before we go to break.
Okay.
So this one is La Ciudad, which is what?
You said it right.
I did. It's well, I grew up in
Dude,
California.
the gringos
man.
in our area are hilarious. I'll take a Lakuta.
Oh my god,
That's the most famous one.
wait, but Arizona is
That's
close
amazing.
enough to the border too. Like,
They're moving from Minnesota at high rates, dude.
Okay, I see.
We got to give
We got
them
some cowboys. That,
Okay.
Yeah.
Don't say.
La Ciudad. We do love that you don't have a ton of hazies in this town. Sure, they're there, but this is the
they're
West.
there. It's just our
Yeah.
tap list in this case.
We
yeah.
flirt with wanting to do more of the West Coast stuff, but this is, juicy, quote unquote. But it's really an approachable beer that we just don't filter. If you-
Mosaic. What
Yeah.
Yeah. What else?
Citra Mosaic.
Citra Mosaic.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hashtag.
Good. No, but good balance of both. The Mosaic, and I like it. I didn't like it at first, and I've said this on the air before, so forgive me, everybody. Crayons is this flavor that I can
Yeah,
get out of
that's
too
fair.
much Mosaic, like that. The smell of a crayon box. And I always know when it's balanced right that I can call it out and go, oh yeah, there's Mosaic, that little tiny tinge of crayon, but not too much. Is it like 50-50 Citra or like more
Yeah.
Citra? It's 50-50. Yeah. No, that's a good choice right
Yeah,
there.
we try to. Yeah, it's so the impetus behind the beer was Downtown Phoenix opening, and we wanted to get engaged with the art community, and so John Thomas Breeze, the famed muralist down
If you're in the
there.
mural world, Breeze is like the one of the greats.
Okay.
And
So he did the art for the beer, and this was our realization that we needed to have a beer on tap at all times that was a hazy IPA.
Okay.
Before that, we had dabbled. We had Tired Hands had come done the first collab where we ever made a hazy. Didn't really know what we were doing with it, and then
worst
we
fucking brew day ever.
Oh no.
How confusing was that?
Great brewery though, but bad collab.
Other than Gene putting 2 pounds of calcium chloride in the
Yeah,
no.
our brewers
beer,
are
and I
like,
was
we put sulfate in beer. What's that?
Oh,
This is,
no.
it didn't go well.
it
but
wasn't the right amount, but
What did it do? What does that do?
it turns it into this metallic tinge that burns your throat.
AKA what every
That's bad.
customer wants.
Yeah.
What size is your system?
15.
Yeah.
So that would be
yeah,
like
that seems a little
400 parts per
excessive.
million on that or something. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
too much.
It was a very
Too
brand
much.
new
Let's
experience.
just call it too
because we
much.
heard
Yeah.
about hazies. It's all very brand new.
It might have gained as much as it could gain, and then it fell out of solution.
Right.
Possibly.
Somewhere in science, it
Saturation.
could be explained, but it didn't work.
This was a
Oh,
waffle IPA,
yeah.
so it like covered up some of that. So
There you go.
yeah,
This version, though, to me, so Cellar Maker out here.
We're going tomorrow.
Have you been before? Ever had their beers?
Know them, but only at
We had
festivals.
what's on tap.
Those,
Great.
Really
those
nice.
two boys like to party, or they did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They did. I think none of us like to party anymore.
We're all off the partying. It's,
Yeah, I don't know what happened, but anyway.
Why are we talking about business?
And they do all kinds of beers and all kinds of hazies, but they've started to call. There's a West Coast hazy now,
Cool.
which pissed me off in the
Okay.
first interview I did with them. I was like, "Fuck you guys! Can't we just have a West Coast IPA and a hazy IPA?" But Connor, he made sense. He talked me into it.
Yeah, I can see
It's
it.
got a dry. It's still a juicy beer, but it's drier. It's got haze, but it's a dry hazy beer.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Connor.
That's what you made. La
You know-
Ciudad, I think Connor would call a West Coast hazy.
The more segmentation we can do with this hazy IPA or IPA in general,
Yeah.
like there's a million things that are called IPA that they are very different, and I'm totally in agreement. And it's also not like thickly hazy.
Yes.
So it's visually hazy, but not like excessively.
Yeah,
it doesn't drink
And
like that.
Right.
It's more drinkable and not sweet and drier and a little bit more bitter and
But it's pillowy. It's juicy. It's got the hazy qualities it
Yeah.
needs to have.
this
So,
is this is in my hazy IPA
Awesome.
wheelhouse for sure.
How do you
Yeah,
get how do you get the haze? Is it yeast? Is it malt?
So
All
there's
of the
a-
above?
prayer.
There's some oats in there, and so this Sinagua started malting Yavapai Apache wheat.
Okay.
And so we
Is
added
that the white
tri-
wheat that you mentioned?
the Sonora
Or-
white
A
wheat. So
tribe in the Verde Valley that we wanted to work with, or
Right.
Kim wanted
Yeah.
to work with.
Okay.
Yes. So that's actually been relatively recent. So Yavapai Apache Nation has been growing Sonora white wheat and then a Gazelle rye as well.
Okay.
And so they're the big other farmer in the Verde Valley. So there's two farmers but it's 6,000 acres. I mean, it's a lot
Wow.
of farmland.
Yeah. Heck yeah.
So,
Name comes from paying homage to. We were like the East Valley. So in Phoenix is called the Valley. There's like 9 valleys in America, but we call it the Valley as well. Valley of the Sun.
The Valley.
We're from the East Valley, which is kind of not as cool as Phoenix, as far as culture goes.
You mean Gilbert's the East Valley?
Yes,
Yeah.
that's in the East Valley, and that's very suburbia.
Hillbear.
Yeah.
Hillbear.
Yeah,
Maybe.
we
Yeah.
wanted to pay homage to the people who kind of thrived. It's a very Hispanic neighborhood, so La Ciudad's kind of paying that. And again, all you future brewers or someone opening, just remember your community's watching.
Yeah.
They pay attention to the shit.
Sure.
Yep. It's also the arts district, so incorporating that into the beer was really important to us. It's an area that's, I don't like the term gentrification, but it is changing.
Yeah.
And so trying to keep the arts community alive and well there
I
is
think you
important.
just
During those changes.
combined gentrified and vacation, which is awesome.
Gentrification.
Gentrification.
Yeah. I'm going on one next week. It'll be great.
Oh,
Yeah.
an Airbnb in downtown Denver.
Yeah. You tour areas that suck now but won't later.
Yes.
It's a gentrification.
These warehouses will be something special. Yep.
Yeah. All right, let me get us to a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to talk more about company culture. We got more beer to try and lots to learn from Arizona Wilderness Brewing Company. Go to azwbeer.com and check it out. We'll be right back. You're listening to The Session.
Hello, this is David Walker from the Firestone Walker Brewing Company. You are listening to The Session on the Brewing Network.
That's for you, Buford.
I love that guy.
Yeah.
I think he ran 5 miles today.
You probably ran 10 today. It's Friday.
You're cultivating much more of a Greg Cook visage, I have to say.
John is?
Yeah. But especially with the grades coming in.
That I don't take as a compliment.
Oh, sorry, sir. It's more about the hat and the beard
Understood.
than it is the persona
I'm not
or
beautiful. I get that. Who can be David Walker? Who I want to be.
David and I have an ongoing hair competition. He wins all the time, but every time I'm like, come on, just share your products with me. Share what you...
We stayed at his ranch one night,
Yeah.
at that little side house, and his daughter, who is beautiful, but this is going to get weird. His daughter walks up, and she, as beautiful as you'd expect him and Polly to have this beautiful family on this property that's just incredible. And it's misty. And I swear to God, a fucking horse just runs right up to her, and she starts to pet this horse.
What the
And it's just David. I didn't know.
His life's a fairy tale.
When he invited me out to the house, I didn't know.
Yeah,
He took me to the Hitchin Post that night. That steakhouse where sideways.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, this is cool. And we keep driving.
Yeah.
Another left turn, another hill. Don't see it at night. I can see it's a large house.
Yeah.
I shouldn't be talking. David, I'm sorry. It's a shitty house.
You want to give out the address?
Yeah. But I wake up to that scene and I'm like,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, David.
Just
It's magical
pinch me,
life.
Pinch me. I'm dreaming. Yeah, I get it.
Yep.
But I haven't experienced that particular wonderment, so.
Right.
Just catch him doing something and hold it against him. That's what I've done for years.
Love it.
You blackmailed David Walker?
I've had a great
Well
TV
done.
show. Great TV show.
Yeah. I blackmailed David Walker. That's the show. Yeah. All right, Johanna, I want to talk to you about some things. So I've been doing this show for a long time, and I'm pretty sure you're going to be the first, maybe second. I give myself a little credit. In 15 years, HR type person.
Don't call me HR lady.
You're not HR.
Don't call me HR lady.
I didn't. But you are an HR type position, right?
Yeah.
Okay, well that's what I did. That's what I meant to say for sure. HR type position.
Should we fire him? Is that
And the reason I'm prefacing it with that is because it is a time of change in every industry, and breweries are no different. And there seems to be finally this need for, and I want to be careful about how I describe the need. To me, there's like a need for some guidance. Finally, is what is because
You think?
I've said a lot of dumb things, and a lot of people have said a lot of dumb things, and look, I think humans do and say a lot of dumb things, and so rather than hitting everybody over the head with like, hey, it's time that you all, get rid of your evil ways. Like, no, it's actually time that we just get a little guidance about how we blurt things out and behavior that we do. So, okay, I'm sorry for the long preface, but do you find that I'm right that this is a fairly new position in the small business world and then certainly the brewing world?
Yeah, for
Okay.
sure. And so I come from a background of helping small to medium-sized businesses with their HR needs. So this is not new to the brewery world, just people blurting out things and not knowing the right thing to say. I think the brewery world has traditionally been very, like, bro-y.
Yeah.
You know?
You can say, yeah, well,
It's
we
a
can
lot
agree
of
with that.
dudes. It's a lot of dudes. And when there's a lot of dudes, there's a lot of broiness. And that doesn't necessarily mean that everybody's always been comfortable with everything all the time, but now we're definitely at a point where we're just like, all right, maybe we like just tone down the broiness a little bit, right? Like,
not that difficult.
Yeah, it's
but
not that difficult.
we need some help.
Yeah, for sure. And so here's the thing about culture is that no matter what size your company or your brewery or your restaurant or your tap room is, you're going to have a culture.
Yeah.
Whether you pay attention to it or not, you're going to have one.
Yeah.
So if you pay attention to it and you cultivate it, then you can have a positive culture that you want, or you can ignore it and you can have the culture that just
that happens.
She looked dead in my eyes and said, or you could ignore it.
Yeah. Okay. Now, before I let these gentlemen chime in at all, I really want to focus on you. How long have you had this job? When did you come on board with Arizona?
July.
Okay, back in July.
Yeah, all the way back in July.
Now, I guess I don't know how to go with this. I part of me wants to know what the fuck Jonathan said to you when he's like, "Hey, we need this position," and I want to know how he described it. But more so, I really want to know how you described it back to him. But can we start with how Jonathan? So Jonathan's like, "Hey, I really feel like we need this."
Okay, so I found this job on Indeed.
Okay.
And I have been in human resources for many years, and I am really good at my job. And I also
love that you say that. No, I really do. People don't do that enough.
Oh, well, yeah.
It's fine to know what you're good at.
Yeah.
Right, isn't it? People,
Yeah.
look, all of you have low self-esteem out there. I just want to point something out. It's really fine to know what you're good at. And God bless you if you found it.
Yeah.
Anyway, carry on.
And my last job was like a meat grinder, and either you got ground up or you got really, really good at your job.
Okay.
So I got really good at my job. I love the outdoors. I love Arizona. I love camping. I love hiking. I love craft beer.
Okay.
So when I saw the job ad, I thought, oh my God, Arizona Wilderness is looking for me.
Yeah, and you were like, Jonathan's going to work for me one day.
Well, so I didn't
Am
know
I
anything.
right,
I didn't know
Patrick?
anything about. I didn't know John or Pat. I didn't know any of that. So I responded to the ad and I interviewed with John
Only
and
took
Pat.
a few months, trust me.
And I think, I mean, my main question to them was, what is a good day for you? Like, what gets you up in the morning? What makes you come to work? What gets you excited to work?
What was the
every day?
answer? That's a great question.
You guys want
Go ahead.
I bet he sat here like he's doing right now. He's like, shit, I didn't know you were going to ask me that.
When it all makes sense. That's a good day. When it all makes sense.
Okay.
And I'll be honest, at the time, it didn't all make sense.
Okay.
You've been in craft beer a long time.
Yeah.
You could ask a lot of brewers, you as well. It hasn't always made sense. Why did we become rock stars? To some people.
I know, it's so weird, yeah.
Why did that happen?
Yeah, why is there fame in beer?
Sure, we had fun with that for a second, but why is there alcoholism
Yeah.
at high rates? Why can't we respect the craft a little more? There was chaos, and so that's probably what my answer was when it makes sense, that's a good day.
Okay.
But I also asked, what's a bad day?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
what kills your soul and what makes
Yeah.
you really not want to come to work? And for them, the answer was when we get it wrong. When we think we have all the information and we make a decision and then everybody's unhappy and we don't know why because we had the information that we thought we had all the information. So it was really about people and relationships was what caused the pain. And I was like, well, I think I can help with that. So
Yeah.
So that of course was my next question. What do you do with that information? So you then decipher, okay, you guys are having relationship problems with your company, with your
Yeah.
staff. And so you immediately think what? How are we going to tackle this?
So my first step is always more information, right? Like I want to gather all of the facts. So we did surveys and I talked to people. I did surveys. I talked to people. I go to all of the managers' meetings. I go to pre-shift meetings. I try to get to know the people.
A company of 180 just to kind of bring it together.
Okay, yeah.
So I try to get to know the people and their issues and their strengths and the things that they care about and the things that drive them crazy so that we can prevent those problems from happening before they do, and to explain them to everybody in a way that everybody can understand.
You make it sound like it's a very individual, every person process, but you can't possibly have a policy for every person.
Okay, so
That was good.
So in HR, you want to treat similarly situated people similarly.
Okay.
Okay, so that's one of the magic things about HR is that you don't treat everybody the same because not everybody's the same.
Sure.
But you want to treat similarly situated people similarly. But yeah, I mean, why can't we treat every individual as a person? Why can't it be about people being people and individuals being individuals? Just because you have 188 of them, then it's just harder. But
Okay.
it's not impossible.
Okay. So in this particular case, and I don't want to go into it so far as like throwing Arizona under the bus in any way. Was this a particularly large challenge in your career? Were there a lot of ways that you had to rewrite the rules, or is it kind of basic? Like you're like, okay, you guys have never had this before, and we're going to implement it, and it's going to be a piece of cake.
So the answer to that question is yes and no.
Okay.
Oh, and also I've only been there since July.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
So
sure.
we're not
Still going.
We're not fixed.
Well,
right?
then you'd be fired if you were, I
right,
guess.
yeah,
So, yeah.
exactly. So I think that because everything that's happened in the brewing industry in the last 12 months, right, or that has affected everybody, not just us, but it's really affected everybody. So coming in the middle of that, there were some areas that needed immediate attention.
So I'm sorry, I'm just going to make sure we're not too vague. Anybody who's like on the outskirts and not like reading about the industry, we're talking about claims of misogyny. We're talking about a male dominant. Yeah, Rat Magnet had a long Instagram. I don't know what to call it.
And this, I mean, this
Thread.
affects
Thread. I'm so old. I don't even know what to call the fucking thing.
And I would say things like this affect women everywhere. And this was just somebody like cracked the door and was like, hey, have you ever experienced misogyny in the beer industry? And everybody's like, oh, have I?
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. So that's what you're saying. When you're talking about what's happening currently, that's what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so there were some areas that needed immediate attention.
Yeah.
And I feel like we are paying attention to those areas. Is everything fixed? Is everybody perfect now? Obviously not, right?
Sure.
We marched. We wore pussy hats. Everything's fixed now.
Yeah. It is. That doesn't fix it? Fuck, I'm going to send them back to Amazon then.
Yeah.
All right, ordered 8 of those
She's
things.
talking about you marched and you wore a pussy hat, Justin. I don't think that
when she says we, it's not you.
you're not in the proverbial we.
Yeah.
Well, the next time I'm coming in, everybody's getting a hat. Let's just put it that way.
That's right, yeah.
But there are also ongoing issues that will need to be addressed. But one of those issues is, how do you make everybody in the company care about your vision and your mission and your values? I mean, we are a very mission-driven company.
Yeah.
And we have 92% of our company works either in the kitchen or serving food or beer. How do you make that prep cook give a shit that our beer saves water?
Yeah.
And that we spend more money to go with local farmers, that we get Arizona grass-raised beef, and that it's a pain in the ass that it doesn't come in pre-made patties and you have to actually weigh it out and make burgers
Compost
out of
everything.
it.
That's a
And then
big
we
expense.
Right.
fucking
Yeah.
compost everything. Like, how do you make every single person in the company, if they're not
So
bought
this
in,
is-
that's fine, but how do you make them like at least aware that that's what we do? And to
So this is really the part of your day to day is if we're going to have all of these ethos that we put out there, everyone's got to at least, well, like you said, at least acknowledge them.
yeah,
Right.
at least know that they exist.
I see.
And to
Does this involve and me and my listeners aren't paying you, so I don't expect you to go into major detail about how to fix these issues. But I do want to know a couple things.
Okay.
Are we now in like 3-hour meetings every other week, or how are we?
So
He sounds like one of our employees. I was just gonna.
This is what people care about.
Yeah.
Like,
Okay,
well,
so-
and also like, okay, if I'm on the cusp, right? If I'm a brewery somewhere, like Bevo's my HR department, which is perfect because it's just me and her. So she just tells me to shut the fuck up when I do dumb
I just report things to myself.
Right. But somebody on the cusp of like maybe taking the step to do this a little better might want to know, like, well, what am I getting into?
yeah, and there's always that fear, right? That if you inform your employees of the resources that are available to them, that you're going to end up with like a flood of bullshit But I don't think that's necessarily true. I mean, we have the Not Me app, which is this really awesome reporting option for people where they can...
What is that? Yeah.
So it's an app where they download it on their phone and they can report all kinds of things, whether somebody's making comments or unsafe work conditions, and it's a very detailed, and it can be anonymous.
Oh, yeah.
And you can communicate anonymously with that person, or it can not be anonymous if they don't want to be
Brewers
anonymous.
Association's app?
The Brewers, well, the Brewers Association, you get a discount if you're a member of the Brewers Association.
I see.
And it's
I love this.
very, very cost effective, particularly considering that it helps your employees feel safe and heard.
Okay.
And there's always that fear, like, oh, if I open the door, they're going to complain about everything. But I think you're not giving your employees enough credit to really take it seriously.
It's also part of the demeaning process. Sorry to jump in. It's very demeaning to be like, well, women might complain more if we allowed them to.
Oh, wait, someone said that?
Well, I'm only suggesting.
I mean, I could be a dick, but that's a dick statement.
No one said that, but this could be part of the.
Yeah.
What you're asking.
Yeah.
Is not your offensive, but that question's even like, but if you start to look at it that way and say, what if we open the floodgates? We'll open the fucking floodgates and find out.
You have problems that you should address.
And sometimes you do have serious problems, and sometimes people are just annoyed about dumb shit, right? Like that's obviously there's going to be those situations, but you have to have that. I mean, I just keep asking people to trust me to know the difference between dumb shit and serious shit.
Sure.
Well, and you need to open that door so they can walk through it. Like you can't just be like only, verified claims enter here. Like you have to just open it up.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
It's a tango. It's a dance.
You need people to trust too.
Yes.
Well, and I like that you used that word too, Johanna.
Yeah.
Trust.
Yep.
Because and they have to trust you guys that you've hired the right person to do this. You, of course, now have to build the rapport.
Mm-hmm.
That was
the trust.
a whole topic too.
Well, they have to believe that she's
what do
not
you mean?
just
And they
protecting the company.
And they have to believe that there's change will eventually happen, because it's like knocking over a Coke machine. You have to rock it back and forth a little bit, right? Like it takes some
There's
time.
a nasty rumor about HR people. It's just like it's being.
This is with the HR lady situation.
Yeah, it's
we're just
kind of being
we're just paper pushers.
perpetuated on television and funny shows like
Yeah,
Office.
oh, sure,
It's hilarious how they treat, I think, Toby or whatever. It's funny, but the general sense is, oh, she's going to protect the owners. Like she's a lawyer. Was really what some
fuck
people.
these guys. Man.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Your job is actually really to not do that.
Yeah. And we read a book called "Let My People Go Surfing," which is Patagonia's kind of
that actually started the process that led us to
their
Johanna.
Creed,
Okay.
Let My People Go Surfing, and then to the B Corp, which
why
was,
we want to become a B Corp brewery, and why we were led to this great.
What's a B Corp to everybody? Why is that significant to you?
I like Pat answering this.
Yeah. So a B Corp essentially it's certification. It's a third-party certification, and the idea behind it is that you put the planet and people before profit.
Okay.
Right. So you put those variables into it's a 200 question questionnaire, and as we filled it out, we realized that. Because they give you a score, that our people portion of that was relatively low. Our environmental standards were pretty high, but our people portion of that wasn't very good.
Okay.
And some of the questions you're like, oh shit, that's obvious. We're paying people below a certain threshold, but others weren't obvious. Like, wow, we didn't think of that.
Yeah.
And that's just the assessment test to get in.
Okay.
New Belgium is the most famous. Allagash as well.
Yep.
Two
I
very
see.
famous B Corp breweries who got that accreditation.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
But
Got it.
some point I was making, I forgot, but it was gonna be good.
It was gonna be fantastic.
Yeah,
It's
But
probably gonna score you higher.
You can sense what a brewery was without her.
Yeah.
Well, and the B Corp, the Beehive, it's their basically it's a medium in which you can hire people that are B Corp specific.
Okay.
Their title was head of people for HR. And I had never heard of that before, and so we wanted to put that energy
forward
out there. And I think that Joe saw that and said, "Oh, this is a group that resonates with."
What I was going to say is the nasty rumor: the HR people are here to protect the company.
Yeah.
She dismantled that in 2 minutes with our staff. No, absolutely not. I'm not going to go to the owners and tell them anything you said. Mm-hmm. And the truth is, every step of the way I've learned, and Pat's learned so much. How she responds to people is very honest and truthful. It's not this glossed over, well, I have to check the handbook for that. So that's where I think people believe you're going to this handbook lawyer vision of HR. We were like, no, the head of people and culture would literally be able to tell the owners they're point blank wrong.
Yeah.
We need to set that system up. And so she's helped us with that side too. It's not just about the one-on-one with the employee. It's the, hey, owner, it's not your business to know that. This is not for you to, you're a white bearded guy. You're not in this conversation right now about whatever we're talking about.
And if we have a safe space meeting, we're not invited. And it should be a safe space. Right. Anyone who's a manager is not invited.
33% of our brew staff is female, and they wanted to have their own safe place environment. And Joe,
I midwifed it.
Yeah,
because it was our female brew team and hosts. They were totally into it. They were all excited about it. So I just helped them out, man.
Yeah.
I just helped it come to fruition.
The reason I'm bringing all this up is just as we talk to brewers about this. This looks like a side effect on paper. It's awesome. Everything is great what we're saying. It actually is. To have a young female brewer look you in the eye and say thank you for the opportunity to be myself is more rewarding than any bank account or any fucking award. I mean that from the bottom of my heart. For her to be like, I'm safe here. For me to do that, I'm even fucking tearing up over it. It was that important to me.
And our lead brewer, Ashley Benson, who is a new mom and is taking that balance to be able to be home with her baby and to be at work, and the wonderful work that she's doing in the brewery is just fantastic.
Yeah, these beers were created by someone who was on the brew stand at 8 months pregnant.
Sure.
Not these beers. She sends back, but she came to us. Johanna helped greatly about, let's talk maternity leave. Like, why would you not want your head brewer raising a child the proper way and not rushing that? And so we worked with her on that.
Okay. And so, all right. Now I have so many questions. But I want to back up a little bit because my first question is this whole, like, everything doesn't get back to the owners and I'm not here to be this old school HR person. Is that something that you described to these guys when you came on board? Were you like, hey, for me to effectively do my job, I need you to know a few things?
So I feel like we were very much on the same page from the get-go, and I think there was a little transition period where I was like, how much?
I see.
And they were like, all of it. And I was like, are you sure all of it? And they were like, yes, all of it. And I was like, okay, so then here's how it's going to be.
And then you write this, okay, then here's what's up.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I hope I'm not trying to pry. I just really like this because it's new for so many companies. I feel like they're like listening, like, okay, how does this go? How does this go?
Yeah.
And for me, if it's me, I like the idea. I'm very good at knowing what I'm not good at. I'm very good at that. So I like going, you sound like a real professional. How about you now? You're now my boss. And you tell me, I do this with almost everybody. You're my boss now. I know that I pay you and everything, but I don't care.
And I feel like HR has failed people so many times. That people really get that feeling that HR is just going to fail again. And that's sort of like, we can't, in this moment, we cannot continue to fail people. Like,
it's very important.
This particular moment, in this particular industry, we just cannot continue to fail women.
So can we talk about something specific then, like maternity leave, because you brought that up. So
paternity leave. We have paid parental leave for both.
So is this going? So California is different. Like these things are state or state
you guys
laws,
are laughing
right?
at us.
So
like,
you got the EDD.
No, I'm listening with both my ears because I love it and I want to hear more.
Well, because what I'm curious about is, are you saying that like, hey, we ended up having to come together and decide, oh, well, the state laws aren't enough. We want to do more than that. Is that what we're talking about here? Okay, that's what I want to know. Yeah, because I
think people in ownership positions need to adjust their realistic expectations meter.
Yeah.
You don't have to. You can want to be an awesome company, and you can get there. And I have met so many brewers who just don't believe that any of this is worth the time.
Can I tell, just really quickly, I'm sorry to tell you Ashley's story, but she had a brewer tell her that she could not be a head brewer and be a mom.
Wow.
That it just wasn't possible, that she couldn't do both of those things.
Wow.
And what do you do about that as an owner is the question that I think Pat and I had, not just that moment, but you're not just affecting a couple people's lives. Like this should be a place where someone can build a career, whether it's with or without you.
Yeah.
So your question is, did she come and explain this to us? she came in and just gave us confidence.
Okay.
A good employee.
And I know it's not black and white, but you see what
Right.
I'm getting at. I didn't know if you had it all mapped out and you're like, Johanna, do this, right?
No,
But that's,
no.
yeah.
We had some guidelines. I mean, I'll tell you that the B Corp really did open my eyes to what we were and weren't doing well.
Yeah.
And we had no idea how to achieve those standards. You look at it and you're like, oh, wow, that makes sense. I would really love to implement that. How do we do it?
Yeah.
Oh, we need to rewrite the whole handbook. We need to do a lot of things that are not in our wheelhouse, like you say.
Yeah. I'm less afraid of rewriting. I'm just going to speak in general. I'm less afraid of rewriting the handbook than I am affording also to rewrite the handbook for some of these things.
Right.
Now, communication and safe spaces and things like that. Okay, there's a personal cost, but who
That's
gives
all
a
free.
shit?
Yeah,
Like
that's
whatever
all
the
free.
fuck. Like
Yeah.
just deal with it.
Yeah.
But if we're now talking about leave, if we're talking about livable wages, we're
Yes.
talking, you see where I'm going.
Right. And I think that is the big question that maybe someone who's listening say, can you afford that as a small business? But you have to look at the long game of all of this. I mean, it truly will save you money and allow your company to propel farther than probably ever would have.
Sure.
If you invest in the people.
Yeah.
And the first step is to get someone who understands people.
Yeah.
And our head brewer is really the best person for the job, and she would have left if she didn't have the
She
flexibility.
started
to
as
stay.
a host
Okay,
at
right.
the restaurant, came from
Wow.
a 6-figure corporate job.
Oh, wow.
This almost feels fake. to
Yeah.
say, like it sounds fake, but she,
Why isn't she here?
yeah, hey Ash, she committed to us because of some of the things she felt online. Like I'm attracted to that.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine coming in as a host at the front of a restaurant after her great career and kept pointing if there's ever a shot, and a lot of time hosts don't get a lot of respect at a restaurant. It's
Sure.
like whatever.
Yeah.
And then she got Pat or whoever, a lot of things happen every year, but whoever said, let's get her on the canning line because she's been asking, let's do that. What a bold move. She then took a pay cut to go can beer.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Work cellar and work up.
Yeah.
And so
I mean, let's be real though. Ashley was a boss when she stepped the minute, 32-year-old hostess who was like getting it done. I don't know
Yeah,
what her
for
age
sure.
was. She always says 26-year-old hostess or whatever she says.
Yeah.
And then she was like, I'm getting in there. And I'm going to outwork everybody who's in there. And she did it,
yeah, there's a
And I
tenacity.
totally respect
but
that.
our system still, she had to come up in a system that didn't have an HR. There wasn't an app that said, you know what, there's something I need to talk. Because who's she going to go to? These two guys? And say, there is some things happening you should hear about that's not in line with your cultural.
Yeah.
What you're saying on social media and to the world. Your story doesn't match up. She didn't have that, so she held it in.
I
That
see.
was what she explains to us very well, and Johanna's helped us understand. Women go through a lot. The
Yeah.
hold-in process. I got to just get over that. And then 6 years goes by, and
Yikes.
you've been dealing with that shit. And so
Yeah.
when Johanna came, and back to why this point means a lot to me, when we said you have it, we planned on this being the 100-year company. That's part of that is we want to be here for that long. We
Sure.
would like to pass this on to somebody, and
Yeah.
have them take that. And that's what we started when we hired her. It wasn't about fixing anything. We've gotten that question. Were you fixing something? Maybe here and there. But the truth is, it's a long-term strategy.
Yeah.
We got to stop thinking short-term in craft beer. We got to stop thinking
it
about
was also
this.
balance. Like
Yeah.
Joe walked in, and you have to be transparent. Like we're a pretty stereotypical company.
They needed another uterus in the room.
Yeah, it was a
That
lot
could
of
Let's just
happen.
simplify it to, yeah.
Yeah.
It's not all that complicated also.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
No,
makes sense. Yeah.
On paper, yeah, it was like, oh yeah, it's a bunch of white guys sitting around.
Well, but I like, Jonathan, you may be long-winded, but every now and then you have a really good point. And I like you saying that you learned about this process that a female employee might go through where they something's not right. They have to internalize it, think about it, don't have anybody to say it to. Like, it's really, you're getting this understanding about how our minds can be different from human to human. And so Johanna has come on and helped you, like, oh, fuck, yeah, well, this is a person. Because you might, if I'm you, I might have gone, why didn't you just fucking talk to me? Of course you can talk to me. I don't mind you talking to me. Everybody can, my door's always open. All the cliche words you could say, right? But that's not all of it. That's not the entire process. some of the processes, you could take your door off the hinges and someone might not want to talk to you.
No,
And then I go fire that person, and now she has to feel like she was part of that firing. There's it's a tango, it's a dance, it's a beautiful dance.
Yeah.
And she handles it in a way from a professional manner.
Yeah.
Not from, this isn't, we hired a female employee to fix female issues.
No,
This
I
is
know
a
it's not that.
professional
Yeah.
employee who's like, hey,
Yes. Understands
this
the job.
Tango,
Yeah.
You can't go in and as the owner go, I don't like that, you're fired, or I do like that, do that more.
Yeah.
You can't do that after a certain date. You can promote people to do that, but there is a point when she comes in and says, let me handle those conversations for you.
Yeah.
And let's have the manager speak that way too. And then it's systemic as,
Sure.
you get the systemic value system there.
And it's just a great learning process.
Yeah, and there's also the bigger element of head of people is the overall culture of the company. And so the bike to work programs and the yoga and the fun things, like those are the things that Joe really does well. And then also teaching people that you're a flat organization rather than this hierarchical top down, you can't get up to the ivory tower.
I like that. I like that a lot.
And we describe it as a tree, right? We are the roots. We supply the nutrients. The management is the trunk, and then down to the other people, and they're the leaves, right? And so who's going to know on the front lines? Who's going to know what the best outcome is for a situation? The people who are actually there.
Yeah.
So let's get their input.
Man, I want to make fun of you for some hippie fucking bullshit so bad. But that is such a great description that I can't even do it. That's so good.
We're like a cactus. We're like a cactus, man. We can survive no water.
A cactus. It soaks in the water.
No, it's so good. I really like it. It's a great description. I think it's how I've always felt about my companies. It's the same with like this. You mentioned beer fame earlier. Like so, whenever I meet our fans and our listeners, I'm like, whoa, we're all just beer drinkers here. All just beer drinkers here, and that's how I feel about my company. Like if you guys have input, I want to know about it. We're pretty much here. I might, the paychecks get signed here, but short of that, tell me what I'm doing wrong. Tell me what we're doing wrong. So I love that analogy as much as I want to make fun of you, Pat.
Go ahead.
No, it's really good. Let's talk beer quickly because it's getting warm in our glass. We have two different. I don't want to just call them sour beers. That's not what they are. What's our first beer? Soliloquy?
Mm-hmm. Soliloquy.
Tell me about this beer.
So this is from our Wood Note cellar, and we got very interested in mixed culture fermentation. This whole series, Soliloquy being the name of the beer, is based on John's photography. So maybe you can go into your background as a landscape photographer, because I don't know if anyone...
That's how Wilderness started for me. The impetus moment, walking past that sign that says, welcome to whatever wilderness area. And I thought, wow, holy shit, we can kind of set aside land. That's where, again, John Palmer's book comes out. You read that, you fall in love with craft beer. But it needed a deeper reason for me. That was on a photography trip, and I still do that to this day. And it's always been a hobby. And Pat's like, dude, you work so hard. You're getting some credibility for the photography. Can you come up with a beer series? So I take the photo and just kind of put the word that I believe that the photo represents. And so it's a cool way for me to contribute to that side of the business.
Okay.
And Pat's gracious, to let me join in because I'm creative.
It's all
brains
practical.
can fuck things up, and he knows that. So he's like, "Here's how you can play."
Yeah, let's rein it in.
Yeah. Hey, John, we always need beer labels, and you have so many photos that are beautiful.
Yeah.
So,
Nice.
So what we do in the cellar, since it's kind of whimsical, right? The mixed culture world is there. What's the outcome of this project? Who knows? There's like a million different barrels, and we're going to blend them, and the project will become what it is eventually, and it'll tell you what it's going to express. So with that, John has a whole cache of photos, and then we can look through them and see which one actually fits what we're feeling with the specific beer, because typically these are, you blend them, you bottle them, and then you let them condition. And so you already have a really good understanding of what the beer is going to be.
Yeah.
So this one matched kind of the color scheme of this photo.
We're so fucking annoying, aren't we? Like these deep stories. I'm sorry.
Enough already. No, the beer's fantastic though, so it's fine to keep waxing.
So if we just dive into soliloquy, which is such a beautiful word, and active speaking one's thoughts aloud by oneself, regardless of any hearers.
Yeah.
So
it was a lightning bolt over a cactus. This scene that I really loved, and it was like
Wow.
What a beautiful sentiment.
Where's this
about
photo?
beer.
Let me see this photo. What, is it on the website? It needs to go with the beer if we're going to do this.
Totally.
Untapped, man.
Let me use
yeah,
myself.
Yeah.
Freaking Untapped.
So
Do we
tell
have
me
to
about
go
the
to
beer
Untapped
itself.
to see
What's
the
the? Is it raspberry, prickly pear?
Yes.
What's
So blackberries, Arizona grown blackberries. We actually drive to the Verde and hand pick them.
Okay.
Which isn't super
So
efficient.
there's
but
blood in this, is what he's saying.
Yeah, it's kind of stickery. And we used to like forage them.
iron?
But that's hit and miss, and you're running around in the forest foraging berries isn't super practical.
Sure.
So there was a small farm that we worked with, picked some local blackberries, which actually do grow well, and then mulberries. So someone had taken Pakistani mulberry trees and grew them in the valley.
Wow.
A small farm, and so we just took the whoever wanted to show up from the team out for a picking field trip, and they had these big long Pakistani mulberries, and we picked as much as we could. And so we take these are also part of the culture engagement. Hey, come touch the ingredients that are going into the product, be a part of this with us, go to the farm, meet the farmer. And a lot of times there won't be an outcome for that. We'll just get it, put it in the freezer, which is more expressive for the fruit. It explodes the cell wall of the fruit, so it's going to add more flavor to it.
Okay.
But we'll just have this. Oh, we have these fruits now in these freezers, so we have like 10 freezers for when we're not in season. We can put fruit in there. We can take it out.
I see.
Because there's this dead zone in the summer where nothing grows.
Yeah.
And we still want fruit beers. Like watermelon comes out in July.
For Justin Crossley.
That's right. And meth. That's what grows in the summer.
When I said except for Justin Crossley.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Crystal berry.
So yeah, it's mixed culture, golden sour base, and then we just age it on top of those berries and then bottle condition it.
Let me ask
delicious.
you both a question.
How old is it? How old is the beer?
How long? That was my question.
How long in the berries?
Yeah.
We usually are around like 8 weeks on the fruit itself, depending on what the flavors are coming through.
Oh,
I think
cool.
this one might have sat a little bit longer. And then we typically try to bottle condition for 3 months at a minimum for THP reduction. But sometimes it's longer.
So this beer that I'm drinking is less than a year old? Or then it aged a bit?
No, so the golden sour would have been probably 12 months in a barrel.
Okay.
And then we went on to the berries, so that added.
I like that. I like that strategy, though. It's like doing the golden sour and then adding the fruit later. I've always done put the sour in the barrel with the fruit and then wait.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But it'd be nice to wait till this golden sour is delicious and then just do the fruit.
Yes.
You're going to have a much higher success rate, I would think.
Yeah. I think it gets away from. Sometimes when we sit on fruit too long, we have adverse situations, or the fruit dies off quicker.
Right. Or you're basically aging on a beer, and who knows what's going to happen to that fruit character. Like, it might go sideways and you lose it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're. I guess you are opening up to possibility of that.
Right. But and you probably still have that possibility, but at least it's a little further along in the process.
Less to go wrong.
Yeah, I'm actually just trying to troubleshoot our sour program to make it more successful in the future. So thanks for your input.
Oh yeah. Well, I think the freezing method helps too.
Yes.
Like if there's stuff living on it.
Oh, totally. We've done that a bunch. We do that. I mean, we do a fair amount of kettle sours too, and we sometimes we'll just freeze the fruit and then throw it in the bright tank with the sour to fruit a sour, and then we keep it mostly in kegs, so it's low risk.
Is it aseptic puree or is it
no,
grown around here?
No, grown, locally grown stuff.
The real deal.
Yeah. I love it. That's amazing.
Which is also harder to dictate exactly what you're going to get out of it, which is why people love the purees.
Yes.
You can kind of, but I don't know, this to me tastes like you dialed everything in perfectly,
it's
even though maybe
extremely
you didn't.
wonderful.
This is really a wonderful sour.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to ask if from your perspective, are people still caring about these? I get your bars. Okay.
Absolutely.
But it's also, just like the hazy style, it's diluting too. So what I noticed here, especially with our cans and things that go, kettle sours, lactose fruited sours. Like, it's really expanding into these things that are not all the same to me. Like, I don't want a lactose fruited sour. I don't want that at all.
Yeah.
But a ton of my customers do. I want this. This is exactly what I want. But then a ton of my customers might also taste that and go like, oh, yeah, well, I can kind of taste the fruit, but where's the milk sugar? You know, and so there's a bunch of weird stuff like that happening. So it's a hard question to answer.
It is.
My older customers, and by older, I mean, you know, our age, they're still coming in and buying Cantillon. They're going to love this.
Cool.
I'm so glad it's on tap. My younger clientele will go like,
way too high of a compliment, obviously, but thank you.
Well, they'll be like, why isn't it? How come I can see through it? How come it doesn't look like a smoothie? How come there's no lactose? Like, so there's kind of a mix
any
there.
residue in the glass. Like, I'm expecting there to be some kind of sludge.
But look, that even looks like rosé.
Yeah,
I mean, it looks
where's
like
the stuff?
Where's
the junk?
Where's the goodness? No, I like, honestly, I think that sours are going through kind of an IPA sort of situation where, you know, we fragmented IPA ad nauseum, and we have to really be descriptive about what is this IPA, because, you know, I know as a consumer, I go into a bar and I'm like, I want the West Coast IPA. I need the clear beer. Like, I need that descriptor to know what I want. So this sour is same deal. You need to say it's barrel fermented and blah, 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 and just like go over the top with description so that people who know what that is will be like appreciating it. Otherwise, it can be like lost in the shuffle with smoothie.
There's
sours.
like two different generations here at play. You have the nuanced drinker, and then you have the smoothie cool person.
And it's not that they won't like this, but so look, I'll pay $25 a bottle for that all day long.
For sure.
And they might not. I guess that's kind of my distinction.
Right.
Now, if I give it to them in an affordable 4-ounce glass like this, they'll go, oh, that's really good. I liked it. Thank you.
Yep.
But they don't want to pay for the.
They don't want to pay for the.
But will they pay $10
process that
for the aluminum can
for the
smoothie one?
or sour? Like, that's the same thing. Right?
Yep, that's
same
exactly
price.
Right. Yeah, but yeah.
I'm just hoping all those exploding cans.
Humans are not logical. We don't work that way. We think we do, but we do not.
Yeah, we need HR
exploding cans.
There's like all the exploding cans like took out those people like with either head injury or death, so they don't need that kind of beer anymore.
Right.
Like COVID.
Yeah.
You wish some people opened those cans
I feel
over
like,
others, though.
like lawyers would have got involved.
I'm not trying to kill anybody.
Like, when did lawyers not get involved with all these breweries and say, you can't do exploding cans?
Yeah, it never happened. They just let it happen.
It's
Just put a
extraordinarily
disclaimer on that
frustrating.
it could explode. That's what craft
Listen,
beer
I'm glad that we're hiring Johannas of the world instead of lawyers, though. Like, we're prioritizing what step we take. The lawyers are next. Don't worry. By the way, you guys like hired a lawyer. You have, but he's like a partner or something. You have like some badass lawyer,
recovered lawyer.
Recovered lawyer.
Okay.
He is now a part of our organization, and he learns from Joe just like we do. And
so I bring him up because in conversations I'm like, oh my God, this guy sounds amazing. And you're like, yeah, we made this decision. We needed, like, I don't know if your word, I'm paraphrasing. Your words weren't, we need the help. But the way you're describing it, I was like, I feel like everybody needs this guy.
Okay,
this
so
person,
you hear the long-witted me, and Pat's very logical. That's great, but this isn't a completed business with just passion. It's not just... it's not complete. So there is always the elements around the two of us. There's always
we needed a smart guy.
Is he fucking annoying? He's really fucking annoying. Do we want to rip each other's throats out? Yes. However, that's how.
Is it mostly because he likes milkshake sours?
So for the bottom line,
this is great.
Just put lactose.
So he comes on really intelligent, Harvard grad, out of our league, but he wanted to switch and try something new, and saw this. Wow, you guys are actually doing what you say. We own the company 50-50. He's never seen that. He's like, no one does 50-50. It's always 49. Someone's in a power struggle. So he's like, I could do this. A year goes by, and he starts to jump into beer feedback, and he blurts out, I think this could have more lactose in it. That's the last time we fucking...
He's like halfway joking.
He loves these things, and they do sell, and so he's a bottom line guy.
Charles
you
has
have to be careful.
the
These
palate
bottom
of
line
like
people.
a 6-year-old, and he'll admit that to you.
That's why we just tease him about it all the time.
Yeah.
Like, is there enough lactose in this?
Yes.
for you?
I mean, but when you have a
great.
lactose beer that sells, 20 barrels in 2 hours, like
versus
Exactly.
2.5 years into a hand-picked $30 a pound fruit that a crazy guy running around a cellar made versus we did this in 2 weeks and sold in 2 hours.
Kyle?
And
Kyle,
I-
the crazy guy?
No,
and
he's
I
not crazy.
can't think
I love
about
all
it
of
like
these
you just
people.
described. I can't think about it because it makes me lose my faith
Yeah.
in humanity. But it's the truth. It's the fact of the matter. And it's the same as like the beer that we get in. We get in good beer all week long. But when Alvarado Street sends us their fucking lactose, fruity, 35 ingredients, whatever, people call. Hey, did you get it yet?
You can
Did you
afford
get
your
it yet?
Corvette
Did you
bill.
get it? Yeah. And it's a $12, 16-ounce
tickets.
can of beer.
Season tickets.
And I'm furious about it. All the way to the bank, obviously.
Yeah.
But if I think too much about it, like you just described it, because then there's this
Yep.
that took so long. Anyway,
Yep.
I can't do it. It makes me lose. All right, what's the next one too? I want to make sure we get through the beers.
This is cactus juice, and
Yeah.
yes, cliche name. I know, I'm
Okay.
thinking for you, but we
Thank you.
wanted that
Thank you.
because again, complication and customers aren't going hand in hand. We want new, great customers. We want more minorities drinking, more females, not just the cool hip. I'm going to line up dudes.
Sure.
And so there is a need to have a name that's easy, and cactus juice was kind of a. Let's not go so in depth with like the Latin name of prickly pear fruit or something.
Yeah,
let's just
yeah,
get
yeah.
straight to the point.
Yeah.
It could sell at a baseball game.
Yeah.
But you're still having an experience with craft.
Sure.
So this is obviously you understand that prickly pear grows everywhere in Arizona and California. This is a fruit that if you're getting into harvesting sustainably, this is everywhere.
Okay.
And it's very important to the Southwest. The Native Americans who came well before us were using it for dye, for fermentation. They were probably the first. I mean, not probably. They were the first fermenters. So there's a lot of lineage in
Does all the
prickly pear.
color in this beer come from that?
No.
The dirty secret of hibiscus.
Bevo,
we had a little
hibiscus.
Bevo, you
Hibiscus.
put me on camera so we can show
Doesn't-
folks that
Doesn't
beer. Yeah.
taste too much,
Oh, the
but
hibiscus. Okay.
We just wanted to push it over the top with the hibiscus.
We wanted
Yeah.
to sell the idea that you're getting cactus juice.
no, I mean, color in beer is incredibly important. I'm gonna throw in something not just for you guys, but for all people in beer, men especially. I think that like beer for women or women, like let's get rid of female. Like that's kind of I don't know. I don't love like female, like the females want this. Like, what
Yeah.
is that? So just say women.
Right.
Yeah.
Understood. Heard. Yeah.
I like that.
It's like corporate jargon talk that comes out, but
No, it's
Also,
fine, and
gender
it
is a
happens all the time.
construct.
sure.
Yes,
Yeah.
but
That's a
at the same
different show.
time, like
That's a different show.
I also rail against like beer for women because I think that is super reductive and to use your brilliant word there, it's not accurate. There's a lot of women
Right.
that really like gravitate towards IPA. I'm definitely one of them. But
understood.
like,
And let me back up. What I meant was when beer becomes this very esoteric thing, you tend to get the same people ordering it in the same club.
yes.
So that,
and I am totally not stepping on you and saying that you're wrong. I'm just saying
Yeah.
like
How dare
like
you?
Yeah.
use
I
use
think you need a little HR talk, Teresa.
use a term that I'm more comfortable with, and I think women in general could be more comfortable
Appreciate
with. Because I don't think you're wrong at all. I think there's like, we make seltzers. We're dirty seltzer makers. But
How
we
dare
make
you?
That's funny. That's how I just described you earlier today.
I know.
Dirty seltzer
that
maker?
dirty
Yeah.
That's
seltzer
a
maker
t-shirt.
will be here later.
Yeah.
Do that t-shirt.
Yeah.
Dirty
seltzer is a
maker.
I
construct.
was like, you know, Teresa, the dirty seltzer maker.
I know.
Yeah.
And we make it. We love it. It's our number 3 beer. But we try to make it in the most ethical way that we can, which is not very.
Yeah.
But yeah, women order this beer or beer,
Seltzer.
quote unquote, more often than anyone else. So I don't think that you're wrong. And I'm not trying to say that you're. I'm just saying like let's drive that
No, I appreciate that.
moniker
Yeah.
a different direction.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard that too. I think that's right. the way to approach that. And this beer, I mean, this beer is one that we really wanted a year-round fruit beer, and Prickly Pear was the only one. We found a local company called Arizona Cactus Ranch.
Okay.
And it's a woman-owned company, and she's been doing it for 40 years.
I want to hear a story. We never have gotten to break that. But she's definitely not like.
I want to have her on the show. Just
rookie.
my desert. It's also sounds like a very redundant name. The Arizona Cactus Ranch.
Yeah.
Yeah, you mean Arizona. But anyway, she cornered this name.
Yep. Yeah.
I want to know her story too.
Shock jock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's a fascinating. I don't remember the movie star who. There were some movie stars that passed through this processing. This cactus fruit in this small space, and she works with the hearing impaired. So the profits go to the hearing impaired.
Okay.
And so they have it year round, and they sell this prickly pear, and we've always struggled with what can we do year round fruit wise in Arizona, because it's big citrus season, and then we have stone fruit season, then we have watermelon season, but we have these blank spots that we can't fill. And we really needed some more consistency, because for the first 6 years, we just had one beer that we made year round.
Yeah, our ethics are just too hard to deal with. It's just
They are. I'm so tired of your ethics.
It's like to get fruit in a
This
beer.
is only a 2-hour show.
Yeah, we had to magically find this. She's out there. We've been looking for this. We were buying from other. It comes off as dill, like we're buying from other ranches, and it's miserable to try to
we
make
were
a
also
beer.
hand picking it, and
We were hand-picking it.
Because that had to be there too.
Yeah.
Yep.
She's like, it's in bushels right over there.
Yeah.
I could just give it to you.
Yeah.
You're like, no, that's too easy. We
Yeah.
have to.
Yeah. We want to give our
Yeah.
workers' comp people just a total heart attack.
We used to take our brewers out, and they're climbing around on cactus, and there's rattlesnakes.
Oh,
and
no.
Yeah, I mean,
Maybe you need everyone to have a machete or something, like a really cool weapon to
yes,
knock
and
down.
we can do machete training.
Yeah.
where they
There
gotta
you
be
go.
quick
Yep.
with machete.
This is where the lawyers will come in.
We're going to start with axe throwing, and then we're moving to machete training.
right.
Is it the same house culture in both of these beers that we just tried?
No.
No.
So, but they're clean lactic cultures.
Okay.
Both of them are.
Because they're similar.
Yeah, they are. So we wanted a
The other
clean
one's
lactic.
funkier.
Yeah, exactly. So the French oak element and time and the nuance there, that builds into soliloquy. So this is a live culture goza. So,
Yeah.
So we do it.
That makes sense.
It's basically the similar time to a kettle sour, but we do not kettle sour it. So we
Okay.
add that to the foeder. We have these big upright foeder crafter foeders, but
Yep.
they have a cylindrical bottom to them, and so it's not residing in there for an extended period.
Okay.
So it's fermenting in there. We're souring it in that vessel, but we're turning it in 4 weeks.
So it's still more complex than a kettle sour, but
Right.
not as complex as a soliloquy.
You'll
which
notice
is,
that the acidity is kind of softer than you might get.
Not as complex as our business model.
Yes.
Yeah. Imagine that too. That's the hardest part for us sometimes is we've built this. It's a very patched together situation. We have 7-barrel stainless tanks, and then we have 15-barrel things, and then we have these 30-barrel foeder things, and we have to drive it on a truck.
Yeah.
We put the wort in a truck, and we drive it down the street, and then we ferment it over there. So
Oh, wow.
it's weird. We get weird.
So is the foeder is it all wood?
It's
The
only
conical?
wood.
Oh, wood
up
on the sides,
and then it's got a
stainless bottom.
A stainless bottom
With a
connected
fin
to it.
That's brilliant.
That goes in for cool.
Yeah.
Why do you
No,
need wood all
that's-
the way down there? That's
That was
brilliant.
the most expensive Instagram buy of my life. I was like, that is awesome. We need those.
Yeah.
It sounds amazing. It sounds like the best of both worlds.
He bought 3 of them.
100%.
He bought 3.
Yeah.
All in
Okay.
one night.
That was a weird Amazon shipping day.
I'm going to need receipts for that, Patrick. That's a weird buy.
Wouldn't have bought them with Charles in the room. That was pre-Charles.
All right, I'm going to get us to another quick break, and when we come back, we've got a little bit more beer to try, and more to talk about with this company culture that you guys have going on. One of the things I want to talk about is, with all the ideas that you have and what can become complex about these ideas is actually how you manage it. And more importantly, I know that something that has been important to you since the beginning of your company until now is live-work balance. So we've spent a lot of times talking about how, like, you guys are really, I think you are setting up a blueprint, and that's difficult. And hopefully it'll be easier for the next company because you guys are doing the hard work. But I know that live-work balance is important to you and getting out into the Arizona wilderness and elsewhere. So when we come back, we're going to discuss that, like, because I'm not sure you have it. I want to find out if you really have it. So far, you're walking the walk and talking the talk, but I wonder if you're at work 15 hours a day. So we're going to find that out when we come back right here on the session. Hang in there. We'll be right back.
Hey, this is Julian Trego from Beechwood Brewing, and you are listening to The Session on the Brewing Network.
You guys want to do station IDs for me before you go?
Do we have voices that can stand up for the...
I think so.
Hi, this is the Brewing Network.
Yeah. We're going to have Johanna do them all, actually.
Yeah, that's actually
incredible.
Yeah, because everybody knows who I am.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Right. I'll make them know who you are,
now
Johanna. That's right. Yeah, everybody listens to the show. It's amazing. Everybody.
Julian's a big hiker.
Literally everyone.
Everyone.
Yeah.
He's a big trail runner.
Yes.
He runs up big trails and he posts his picture, and I feel like shit because I haven't done anything.
It does it like up on a mountain somewhere. Yeah.
He's like, look at my new shoes. I just ran this trail, and I'm just like, yep. I've been laying in bed all day.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
He's good at that too.
All right, Julian, we get it. You're amazing.
Yep.
Everybody gets it. All right, I have a lot to talk about, but I want to follow up on my question, before the break, which is with all this culture and the effort that you put into your company. And this is, I'm asking this and putting a point on it because it's important to me too, is live-work balance, life-work balance, which I know gets thrown up in the air during COVID, but fuck that. I don't want to talk about COVID. I don't want to talk about how COVID affected it. I want to talk about in general your company policy, because I know you guys want to get out and enjoy the wilderness. I know that you want to go backpacking. I know you want that for your team. So how can you take on all of these things and tell me, that you're also not working, 18 hours a day? Are you finding that you're still able to have some live-work balance and take on this ethos?
100%.
Okay.
I mean, for us personally, we have achieved that. I believe that.
Yeah.
I believe that, that we're actively engaged in the business, but we are able to have that balance. John and I specifically, what we're really trying to accomplish is that for the rest of our team.
Okay.
And I think that it's in our office space, it's somewhat there. There is flexibility. There is remote access. Ashley gets a couple days with her baby, and she can a couple days in the brewery.
Mm-hmm.
If you're a server in the restaurant, you have to show up for this shift. But they have the work-life balance anyways, because they can work 3 days straight and then take 5 days off if they want.
Yeah.
And can I jump in here for a second?
Sure.
Yeah.
So when we did our first employee engagement survey, we actually did pretty well on the work-life balance section of that. That the front of the house and back of the house employees do really feel like they have the opportunity to choose their schedule, and if they need the time off, then it's usually granted.
Okay.
So it is a position of privilege to say I work in an office, and if I want to go hiking at 9 a.m., I can do that and then be back at my desk by 10:30.
Mm-hmm.
So there is that privilege that the line cooks don't necessarily have.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
But they do have the ability to say, okay, I want to work Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays, and I don't work any other days than that, or I want to work, only night shifts or only day shifts. So we do try to be as flexible as we can for the people who are on the front lines.
Sure. So there's still equity there, still equitable. But if you got to be at your place, then we can't solve all the problems in the world.
Yeah.
Because robots.
You can't go hiking when you're in the middle of your line cook shift. Sorry.
And I asked this too. I did say it's important to me, and it is. At the Brewing Network, it's a little easier for me to provide work-life balance. So I've had this philosophy for years now that there's actually no set vacation time for people that work for me. You can take all the vacation you want as long as your job is done, right? So now if that means you can get your job done on a beach in Ecuador, I'm really happy for you. That's fucking fantastic, right? But your job still has to get done. And the minute your job's not done, you've taken too much vacation time, right? So that's always been a philosophy that we have. It doesn't work with a bartender and servers and things like that, but it's still something I've always strived for, because I just think everybody can buy into a company and set their own live-work balance as long as they know the criteria of their job. You still have to get this job done. And then I don't really care how you get it done, as long as it's done to the standards that we've all agreed upon, right? So
that sometimes turns into a trap. So you've all probably heard that Netflix offers this very generous no vacation policy.
Okay.
But they also, their workplace culture is so intense and so competitive that if you go
no
away,
one feels
that you're punished, culturally punished for taking any time off at all.
Right.
So you want to make sure that that you do it as well as everybody else, so that it is culturally acceptable to take that time off.
Yeah, I'm only ever mad about it if they go places that I'm jealous of. Yeah, the rest of the time it's fine.
Well, that's why I invite you on most of my vacations.
That's true. Yeah, Beaver's like, you want to go? Yeah, except to Disneyland.
Because you didn't want to go.
Exactly. Okay, it is harder in the on the retail side, on the hospitality side. I get it, but I like that you point out there's still a different way to find your own balance, and that is we have a lot of employees. We can all work different shifts. So if you want to take if you can afford to, and you want to take time off, you can. So that's a good point.
Yeah, and I think that's like flexibility of scheduling and being open to that idea.
Yeah,
I think ours is a little more hybrid, where what you're describing is kind of a policy that we try to implement for those who can have more of a flexible remote situation. But for people like kitchen staff members and the rest of the group, we actually did take all of these types of paid time off and implemented that. And so Joe's done a great job of having that available to that team that may not have otherwise known about it or been able to have that time off.
Sure.
So they've been able to use that, which isn't normal in the restaurant industry to get a lot of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
But it's a great point, even knowing about it. I'm just going to throw myself under the bus. I just learned that I'm required to give everybody a couple of days of sick days in California.
Welcome to California.
Yeah, not that I ever held it back, but I'm actually supposed to promote it. I'm supposed to be like, hey, by the way, guys, you have this 2 days. And I was like, oh, shit, I didn't promote that
Well,
properly.
3. Yeah.
So 3.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Well, it's 24 hours. It's hours.
24
It's
hours.
24 hours. Yeah.
So one whole day.
Do you want me to tell you how it works? Or?
Yeah, go
Is
ahead.
that based on how many
you
employees
can.
you have?
You can. No. Well, it can be,
up.
but the minimum is the 3 days. The minimum is the 24 hours.
Cool. Learned
is what
something
it
new
is.
tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Bevo HR.
Yeah. No, she's great. Yeah. Bevo gets all the sick days she wants. She doesn't get
No,
paid.
I mean with our other business.
Your other. Oh yeah. No, you gotta. Yeah,
Oh,
that's
well.
a thing. Yeah.
The drug dealing.
Yeah.
Johanna didn't hear about your other business,
Yeah.
so she thinks you're
yeah.
working
The
at that
only
night
reason
bar.
Bevo can afford to work for me is that her and her husband own another business entirely. Yeah. So that's how that goes.
Well, and honestly, like the time off thing has been something we focused on because, like, I don't think we pay people as much as we would like to, but we offer a very generous vacation.
Nice.
So-
and some people actually prefer that.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
Especially if they're
I'm
tipped
sure they would
employees,
love to
you
be
know.
paid well and also have nice vacations. But like our brewers have 3 weeks paid vacation.
Wow, that's really nice. Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm proud of that.
See,
I'm
and
not
all
proud
this-
of their
that's-
salary, but
You should be proud
that's
of
what
that.
they have.
That's,
And
that's a complicated one for
I would be remiss if I didn't talk about as idealistic as all of this is, and I think we can all agree, certainly in this room, that we want more for our team. We want more for our company. We want to give more. You said something that I really relate to, where you want people to be able to have a career with you, right? I've been saying that since I opened this bar. Now, I am fortunate, and I take it as a badge of honor, that a good half of my staff has been with me since the day I opened almost 8 years ago.
Wow.
And to me, I do feel like that's a reflection of what we provide. But I'm also fully aware that this industry, at least the retail side in the bar, doesn't always provide you the best living. It doesn't always provide you the best security.
And it's not necessarily where everybody wants to be forever. That it's a
not.
stepping
But if you
stone.
want to be there, I want you to be able to stay.
You want them to be able to find a home.
And I've
if
got
they're
some
looking for
folks
one.
that I feel like could stay here, for their whole career. So I want to add more to that. And I'm learning from you guys about how to do that. Okay, but at the same time, let's be honest, margins are tight. They're tighter than ever, especially in California. It's rough. So I'm constantly looking for ways to do this, to provide more leave, to provide more pay. I would love one day to provide health care to my whole staff. I don't now. I don't mind being honest about that stuff. But it's a really tough time to do all those things. I'm not asking, by the way, for answers. I just want to point out that I don't want to sit in here and talk about all the ideologies and not. I think there's probably a lot of business owners like me listening out there, and they're like, yeah, no, that all sounds great, but I can't.
We are not special.
Yeah.
We did get named Best New Brewery, and that helped a little bit. We did have...
You mean by the Brewing Network, or was this different?
This was Rate Beer that night that you talked shit about Arizona.
Yeah, that's right.
I still remember. But those kind of things helped propel the relevance of our name, but we're not special. We don't have... We are... It's complicated.
Yeah.
You need really smart people around you, and they do cost more. It's worth every penny to get the right person for the right seat.
Yeah.
These are decisions that are affecting everybody, so if you're the only one making them, it's akin to you having someone to your house and asking them to care about your house as much as you do.
Yeah.
Over time, though, people do care about the space they're in, and the right head brewer... Ashley will give us the right feedback.
Right.
We'll say, this is not enough vacation. And so if you have someone in place like Johanna with ears listening saying, okay, my job is to make that feedback actionable, this wheel will turn and you'll get better at it. There's no fix right now.
But you can start finding solutions when that wheel starts turning.
By getting the right people in the right place.
I got you.
If you
and the right customers. I think that's a big part of this is for us to be able to do this, the customers have to care.
Yeah.
They have to care that you're doing it. They have to care that you're focused on these initiatives.
So are they caring by telling you, or you're saying they're caring with their wallet? Because when your prices go up, they go, we understand.
They're caring
That's
with their
what
wallet.
you mean. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. And that's something we talk about a lot here too, because there are very clear ways for me to achieve every single thing I want to do with my team here in terms of raises, in terms of healthcare. It's clear as day. Raise the prices. It's just it's right there. But do enough of the customers care that it makes sense. And so
and then you go to marketing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because how are you sharing that information?
Right. Yeah.
I really enjoyed
That's a good point. That's a great point.
I enjoyed the day that I learned that marketing is different than what people think it is. Marketing is placing your company in a market and then using tools like advertising. And obviously, we're not going to go deep in this marketing 101, but that is, people just say, a lot of times I've heard, go to marketing. We'll go market. We'll go, that's advertising, what you're actually talking about.
Yeah.
Finding the right market to say, hey, and again, we reference Patagonia or Sierra Nevada is a great company who says, I need you to care that we are the most expensive beer. Here's why.
Yeah.
When we talk about 14 days PTO, when we talk about maternity, paternity leave, we talk about our goal for the next 3 years is to get 401ks to all of our full-time staff.
Yeah.
Yes,
you need your customers to buy in.
Yeah, we need our customer to understand that a $8 pint isn't about us, and you are buying a better community. That's such, unfortunately, becoming washed by. You just bought a product today.
Soy milk. Yeah.
Soy milk from a big provider, and they're talking about saving rivers.
Yeah.
They don't tell you how. That's starting to get complicated too, because the customer goes, local. I can just go get it faster, better, bigger, stronger somewhere else.
Sure.
Or you see the Coors billboard on the side of the highway that says they've saved this much water.
Yeah,
which is true. They are doing that right now.
They bought an offset credit, or I don't know.
Yeah,
I see. Yeah,
but the truth is, anyone who got into business and feels like this is hard, get the fuck out right now. This is what it's like. You think COVID stuff, it's going to be something 3 years from now. You think marketing stuff, you think HR stuff.
Right.
If you think it's going to get easier, get out of here. This is not for you.
Right.
Any brewers in this going, this is my employees are bitching all the time, or whatever could be the possible statement.
Yeah. Damn it! Way to call me out, Jonathan. I feel like I gotta step up tomorrow.
This is it, my man. This is how it goes.
This is as good as it gets.
Yeah.
Well, I don't want to buy into that, but I will buy into the stop complaining and get on with it.
Dude, the work-life balance thing, by the way, is anyone who has an answer is lying. There's no answer to know what that is. Sometimes you work too much, sometimes you work too little.
Yeah.
But
okay, that's a good point.
You getting feedback from your team is so important, from everybody top to bottom saying, I'm not getting enough and here's what I'd like.
Yeah.
That has changed our company forever, for sure.
Okay.
There was times when we worked there too much. There's times when we aren't there enough.
Yeah.
It's always about the balance of the moment will teeter the balance of the year. So, you keep putting things on one side and on the other. Well, that pendulum going back and forth, you view it one way, your staff views it the other. So
Sure.
an open feedback cycle is huge. I'm not getting, like Brewer's saying, I'm not getting paid enough.
Mhm.
Well, let's look at the market. Let's talk about the market. Oh, wow, you're not getting paid enough. You are underpaid. Or, hey, we want to show you that you're actually dead on market.
Yeah.
And here's how you would get more money, and a clear explanation.
I see.
And that's a little different than just saying, work-life balance, get out there more.
Well, of course, yeah.
Yeah.
And the profit sharing programs, that's
Not calling
some
you,
stuff
like,
that we
basic.
built in. It's like,
Mhm.
well, okay, how can we both mutually benefit from this? Let's talk about how much beer we brew, what kind of beer we brew, what the profitability of that beer is. And if we achieve those goals together, then it's going to go back to you in the brewery. So
Yeah.
let's figure that out and be very transparent of how to construct it, even construct it with the employees. Ask
Right.
them about it and say, would this motivate the team? Like, would this be useful? And I think that that's helpful. I mean, that's a way to say,
Sure.
hey, it's not just about, and it's not going into our pockets because we're just dumbing it back in and creating new initiatives and having
Right.
Johanna come in and change the world.
Well, it's official. You guys are so good that I am not publishing this podcast until I'm ready to deal with my staff listening to it, is what's going to happen. So I'm sorry that you came all the way out here. This show will not be heard ever.
Okay.
Ever.
Likewise.
Anywhere.
Let's talk about how we fuck up. We're always ready for that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, let's talk about this
Please,
beer, too.
knock yourselves down a little.
And I will publish this episode.
We have made
I'll
1,000 mistakes 10 times over. Yeah.
Well, as we all have. Superstition Breakfast Stout.
So, John, this was a garage day.
Yeah, this is
Like, evolution of
it's
a
an
garage
evolution
day.
of a garage day beer, and I know every brewer out there who has like their original recipe 10 years in is so proud that it's somehow this is nothing like it is way better than what I was making, and I was probably listening to you or whatever back then.
Right, and that's some credit. We do need to take a second and give that credit. What you have done, the open source here, has affected so many brewers, and
So thank
we are
you,
very
Bevo.
humbled to be here.
thanks.
I mean,
Thank you.
John showed me
100%.
this podcast. What was it, 8 years ago? And as a professional brewer, it changed my life.
Oh, man.
I can't believe that we're sitting here right now. So thank you.
Well, I appreciate you saying that. I just had a conversation with someone the other day. Maybe it was you, Jonathan. Actually, it might have been you, where it was like, yeah, people don't need podcasts and books and like now it's all already out there. And but back in the day, we needed to get information out there. Right? So I appreciate you saying that. And now it's like, well, it's all out there, right?
Yeah, well, that's why this show to us. You asked what we want to talk about.
Yeah.
Culture is important because I think it's a clear. Okay, we've gotten to this point. What do we do next? Well, this ain't getting easier.
Mm-hmm.
The headaches that we have faced in COVID, it's not going to get easier. Going back to why this is so important to taste a beer, that it is nostalgic. Those garage days were awesome.
Yeah.
They were fucking great.
I miss my garage studio.
Yeah, I had a dog that would lap up all my work. Unfortunately, died of diabetes.
Oh, yeah, it's your fault.
Yeah.
You killed your dog, man. That sucks.
So the moral of the story is, wort will kill.
so bad for laughing.
Wort will kill. His name is Arthur.
Hopefully it was long enough that it's not too soon for us
rest
to
in
fuck
peace,
with you. Okay.
arthritis.
Yeah.
But those days were incredible. So to taste this, we let our brewers tell us what they would like to do. Don't get me wrong, this isn't like, we'd like to put spaghetti in a mash or something.
Right,
But
yeah.
Ashley is like, this was too roasty for me. Here's why I'd like to change it. You go, that would be great. Let's see what our customer thinks. So
Heck yeah.
this is now a version I think is acceptable, but Superstition Mountain Range is one of the 90 wilderness in Arizona, right outside our window. It's the closest one to us. And I also, in the window cleaning days, I was cleaning someone's garage. I'm like, why is my coffee in here? And he started a coffee roasting company called
wow.
Superstition Coffee Company.
Oh, nice.
So that's where the coffee came in.
That's
And
delicious.
It goes together. Coffee and beer will always be together, but it is high in caffeine, so be careful.
Yes, we do have to get into the story element of this. And
Hold your beer up right here, Jonathan. Hold it into that camera so people can see it.
So, Superstition Coffee.
Yeah, it's so clear.
It's so clear.
Superstition Coffee. Unfortunately, they did close up shop during COVID.
Yeah.
So we started working with a coffee roastery down the road who is Crop to Cup. And so it's called Peixoto, and they own a plantation in Brazil. Julia, who owns the company, her father has the plantation in Brazil, so they direct source all of the beans and make a cold brew concentrate. So we've switched from...
We one-upped ourselves.
Wow. Wow.
Which is an amazing story. It's a family business.
Dude, this is crazy. To have a coffee plantation in Brazil as a Brazilian and come here and have a coffee roasting company, you're not going to find that in many
that's
cases.
pretty
So
amazing.
this coffee is, like, to me, a big part of the beer, obviously.
Yeah.
And
Just
it's a great beer.
No chocolate.
No chocolate.
Okay, so the chocolatey
Chocolate malt.
Chocolate
flavors
malt,
are coming
yeah.
from malt. It's
Exactly.
We
yeah.
use
so
that
delicious.
that Baird's pale chocolate.
Yeah, I
Because
think
there's
it
plenty
was
of chocolate in there, isn't
Fawcett
it?
at some point.
Yeah, it's from the
Well,
malt.
it's-
I like the
I mean,
it's
it
mapley.
with like a really great
Yeah,
stout.
it's mapley.
There's all kinds of like chocolate and caramel and treacle and all those flavors come
Sure.
through in a well-made stout. And with reduced roast, it's like you can really taste it.
Yeah.
What's the ABV on
delicious.
this? 10% or something?
Yeah,
9?
this one's a
9.7.
little lower, 9.1.
Yeah.
An interesting note on culture with the interplay with Julia is she opened a coffee shop and started roasting coffee in Chandler down the road, and so said, "Hey, Dad, I have this shop and this business, and we want to source from you." And in the Brazilian culture, that wasn't really like, okay, cool, I'm still going to sell to these middlemen. And she said, well, but we can go direct to you and we can offer a better price.
Yeah, they're
but
like,
the
what?
cultural paradigm between the daughter-father was not there.
Interesting.
And so it did take some time to deconstruct that and say, hey, let's go around that. I have a legitimate business that's thriving here, and we can create strength on both sides.
Right.
So it's kind of interesting.
That's
to hear
so interesting. And just the loyalties involved. Humans are so interesting. And then when you add business and commerce, old school business and commerce,
this is the way it's done.
This is what we do. Yeah. I'm sorry, I have my Italian forefathers. This is what we do. I don't know.
I think it's Sopranos. Oh,
yeah, exactly. Oh, it's another delicious beer. You guys sent us some really great beer. Yeah, I appreciate that.
Really, everyone is shining like a brilliant star. It's so good.
It's weird we didn't send the bad stuff.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, because it had to travel. You're like, oh, this is extra. Send it out there. Believe it or not, it's happened before, Johanna. Where I'm like, we'll taste it on the show, and then collectively, Bevo and I will look at each other. We'll all go like,
tell us about
why did they send that? What was wrong? Yeah. All wonderful beer. This is.
It
just
would be
a
funny
great,
to end this great podcast just talking shit about some breweries.
And I wish I could name some, but honestly, I don't even. Now I'm not being a politician either. I don't think I could remember one. Like, I know they've been in here, and I know this
I
one.
don't. Breweries go through so much. They don't talk shit about each other. You go through so much
Well,
to
and
get where you are.
listeners will ask too. They'll be like, "Come on, every beer you have can't be good." And I'm like, "Yeah, okay, no, you're right. I don't blatantly lie.
Can we?
But
talk
I'm
shit
also
about
not
defunct
here.
breweries?
Yes, we can.
About
Yes,
those we can. Yeah.
Actually, we can't even
Yeah.
because there are still people.
The people, and they might move on.
There's still people.
Yeah.
But our job is never to talk shit anyway. They're all, small business owners like us. So now, I don't want to mislead my listeners and say, "Oh my God, you have to try this whatever beer it was." We don't do that.
This
We'll just go.
Pilsner is
Yeah,
so good.
no, but we'll just go like, "Oh, yeah, no, that's a good Pilsner. Like, how long did you lager it?" Like, you just move on.
Did you
know
ferment
what I mean?
this?
Well, and I don't remember the name of the brewery, but I do remember a specific time where the beer was actually really bad, and the brewer
Yeah.
was like, this isn't right.
Oh, they said it. I don't even remember
They
that.
were in studio.
Okay.
I was definitely on one of those.
Yeah, and they were like, no, this
we
is
were
not
like,
how this is supposed to taste. And we were like, oh,
okay.
thank God.
And they were like, oh, not so great.
No, these are delicious.
That is nice, though,
That is not tonight.
Said this is off. Just
Yeah.
you're in the clear.
Now, I will admit, and it's true for you as it is any brewer that comes in the studio, the beer is always better when you talk to the people, when you hear the story behind it. So, and like I said, that's true for you too. Like, honestly, I might try one of these beers in a week, and it won't be quite as good as I remembered it because you guys are telling me the story of the farm and admittedly, your senses are they react to that. So, beer is always better in the studio. That's just a true story. That's a fact.
We would like. There's people like Sean Hill who owns Hill Farmstead.
Yeah, we've had them on too.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking of these brewers that are just like even Jean or Jeff Stuffings at Jester King, where you would say that's the best beer I've ever had. It would be believable. This is Ashley and our team is incredible, but that's not truly what our ethos is.
Yeah.
Really amazing products is what we want, but we don't even really submit to. We did submit this year. First time, but that's never been.
Wait. To where?
Submit
To World Beer Cup.
You did?
Yeah.
To 2022?
Yep.
Yeah.
You won. Good. All right. Well,
I'm clapping because I've had this conversation with you.
Yes.
And I had it at your pub, and I really liked your fucking beer. And you're like, no, we don't do that. We never enter. And I was like, okay, like I get it. I understand. I'm happy you entered. I think this is a good thing.
It's what Ashley wanted to do and Tim wanted to do, and I don't want to say because it does. I get worried like our team back home's like, wait a minute, we're not. But it is a 15-barrel converted kettle from an orange juice.
Yeah.
Pasteurizer.
Yeah.
We haven't invested in that side to say we're Russian. I mean, Vinny is a hero to me.
But that's okay.
It's hard
We're
to have
not the
that
Russian-
confidence,
That's
you
fine.
know?
I understand.
To say
Well,
you're
and you're-
technically in the box. And
You're investing in something that would be a huge deal for her.
Yes.
Like,
yes,
honestly,
yes.
that's what's
Right,
important about
right.
this. If she wins a World Beer Cup medal,
Oh.
it's like, go home. Like, that's, you know, it's
Right,
a
yeah.
huge deal.
Yeah. And so so I've broadcast the World Beer Cup and the GABF, all of them for a good 10 years now. And I don't get paid great to do it, but I love the BA. But my favorite thing about it is watching brewers receive their award.
Yep.
I fucking love it. I tear
cool.
up. I tear up every year to this
We
day.
should cry together.
Every-
I
sometime.
get back there. We
year.
would. It's, obviously, when it's my friends, that's even more. But sometimes it'll be a stranger. So I don't know, Ashley. But if you can read their, and I'm looking at their face on a big high definition camera on my screen. I'm like in the back, and I'm telling you, I'm just there pushing buttons to make sure the world can see it. And I love seeing brewers win those awards. Teresa is right. It's there's some kind of validation there. There's just some kind of something that it's like winning an Oscar. Like if that was your career, if that was your genre.
It's like winning the Beer Olympics.
It's a big old deal. So I'm glad you guys are doing that. That's cool. Yeah.
It really, it's
yeah,
a
I get
huge
teary
deal.
every year. It's cool.
I know. I was on, the BA does their Instagram. I was on a video because Revision won the last Beer Cup, and it was like, here's a post to remind brewers to register for World Beer Cup, and here I am, like,
hell yeah! I get so excited.
The goofiest video. I'm standing and cheering and screaming for these guys because, like, they're my friends, and I'm so happy that they won.
Teresa
And they
won
just
California Brewer of the Year, just a couple years ago.
I won
not
some.
too long ago.
That's so cool.
No, it's a big deal. All of California's a big old beer market.
breweries in California?
It's a big old beer market.
We
So-
Googled it.
Really
Didn't so actually you're not our first brewer. Didn't Beardy win it once too? Or did he win something else?
He won California.
I thought that's what you won.
No, so there's Cal State Fair, and then there was CCBC. I won CCBC.
You won the big one. He won the state fair.
He won the state fair.
He got the shitty one.
Yeah.
Teresa got the big one.
He got some.
It wasn't
Elvenir.
shitty.
Yeah, he got the like everybody gets a trophy.
What's that thing you get the fair? The dessert, like the fried stuff. He got that.
Yeah, he got that.
fried
Powdered
stuff.
sugar.
These things are a big deal.
Funnel cake.
It's a huge deal. I'm,
Cool.
that's how we as brewers figure out how good we are, and it's really important. So I'm happy that you're supporting
It's
it.
also peer recognition, right? Because it's not
For
just
sure.
some people's choice vote. It's peer recognition, I feel like.
Yeah.
So glad you guys
And
did
it-
it. I'll
and,
be there. I'll be
like,
broadcasting it.
It's a verification of what you think you've been doing and doing well. So
Yeah.
it's important.
Yeah, I love, like what you said means a lot. The idea that brewers are just like, wow, this is one of the great moments for me. And I would love our team to feel that. I really would. That
Yeah,
would be
it's just a cool thing, and it's easy. Of course, every competition in the world has its biases and has its this or that, but there is something kind of magical about it. And when it all comes together, so like we're both fans of Firestone.
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
well, Firestone.
So we're annoyed by that every year. How cool.
Well, when they won at GABF year after year after year, when they had that streak, you start to realize, okay, it's not all biases. There's something to that. That's not a fluke.
Yeah.
They didn't pay somebody to win. Like, that's a consistency, right? And to me, that lends validation to the awards. So when I see smaller breweries and all people, it's
How
really
are there
significant.
biases? Is it because it's all blind, right?
Just significant, yeah. So not on purpose. Just like
flavor profiles?
human biases.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I mean. There's always something, because humans taste everything and have to place their knowledge against the style of the beer, for example. But yes, it's all blind. Just subjective.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. There's
I
just
see.
subjective biases by judges. What maybe they got drunk
What they
the night
like.
before. Maybe
Whatever they
there was,
like to drink.
Yeah.
Well, and-
maybe they had too much coffee that morning. Like, there's those things that are flukes, right?
That's palate errors.
Yes, that just happens.
Yeah, and like, sometimes the judges have a view on beer that's a little bit older or more in the past than what brewers are doing right now. So like,
Wait, is there a smoothie sour category? Is that what you're saying?
I don't know. I'm not entering
I don't know
it,
either. I
so
wouldn't
it's
think there must be
not a
by
big
now.
deal for
This is
me.
the diabetes side of beer. This is diabetic
This is the
category.
diabetes
And
category.
bronze in diabetes.
I have to say,
Willard
like,
Scott
we never enter
You know what I'm talking about?
IPAs. We always
Willard
enter these
Scott.
like lager categories. So like,
Yeah.
we're playing to our strengths, so to say.
Yeah.
So to
It's a
speak.
good strength. That's
Yes.
like a, industry strength. We
Well,
all
I mean,
love
it's like that's the beer that we all love. So like,
Yeah.
I don't know, why not excel at
That's
that
right.
beer?
Do you think that they pour it over like a 6-minute period and give it the proper care when they try
No,
it?
As you
no,
should.
I definitely don't hold out any hope that anyone's treating the beer nicely.
I'm entering a 6-minute pilsner, and I'm giving you instruction on how to pour it to the judges.
We all say a prayer over the beer.
Yeah.
We lay on it and just say, "Baby Jesus, please, take care of this beer."
You sage it.
Yeah, we sage, we
Yeah.
smudge.
Yeah.
Every time.
We send
Proper
it
amount
to
of
Sierra
sage
Nevada.
in the sage IPA.
Bless you, Sierra Nevada, for drinking our beer all the way to Denver.
You didn't send off the beer yet, right?
That's like
It's a
3
ways
weeks.
away.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's coming up.
Okay, listen to me.
Okay.
There's a show on the Brewing Network. I'll find it and I'll send you a link. And I think there's one with Matt, and there's one with another brewer that Matt trained about how they package and send beer to the competition. This is not me insulting your intelligence. I'm
Yeah.
sure you know how to package your beer.
Can you send that to me too?
But these guys were like, look, we know how to package beer, but competitions are different, and this is the way we do it. There's like a special way because
Like
you know.
extra ice or
Well,
something?
I don't know what, but you're shipping it off, and like, don't just send your normal packaging line to the. Not that it's not great. I'm
Yeah.
sure
Oh,
your
yeah.
packaging is
so,
great. I'm, not-
so do you guys
extra.
do you guys have a canning line?
I'm just saying.
No, we have a mobile canning line.
Okay.
There are little
so-
tricks to the trade. Don't send your mobile canning line beer to
do
the
not
competition.
Send cans. I will
Do
tell
not do
you
it.
right
What are we
now.
supposed to do?
We've,
Get a
we've
counter
won-
pressure bottle filler.
Yeah, go to morebeer.com and get what do you call that thing? The
Like a Blick-
It's the Blickman beer gun.
Beer gun.
Are you saying that's going to have a lower DO than
Yes.
I
our
am
can line?
absolutely
This-
telling you
the
this.
ones that we can check and
I'm telling you,
In the
I've never
can?
won
Yes.
a major
Kyle
award
Manson.
off a beer that has been canned by my canning line.
Okay.
I'm hoping like
I'm going to
not so many
bypass you
people
two. I'm going straight to Ashley here. I'm going to
Okay.
Ashley.
Yeah.
Go to
She's in
Ashley
charge.
and
I'm going to
tell her.
send her these links, and then we're going to let her decide. It's her beer. Is that fair? Can we?
Yeah, I mean,
So
Johanna,
GABF.
can we all agree from an HR standpoint? Fuck these two.
Totally.
It's Ashley's beer, and she's submitting it to the competition. I'm going to send her the materials, and she gets to decide.
100%.
Does this sound fair?
For sure.
I feel like it's fair.
Yeah.
Patrick,
It's 100% fair. I agree with you 100%.
but
Justin and I had a yelling. We had a yelling match in the middle of the street in Denver.
You and I
'Cause
did?
Yes, because
This sounds
he
like
was
a sober story.
yeah.
he was like, "You did what? You sent cans to
Oh yeah, I was so
GBF?"
mad. Yeah.
He was super mad, and I
you
think he
really
was
care
right.
about this subject.
I
What
did.
are the DOs
I did.
on your cans?
I do.
I don't have a DO meter
Okay.
yet.
So
A pro.
First
But
of all,
like,
your
this
can
bottle-
will never reach a DO of. If you had a bottling line and a canning line, right?
right.
Your bottling line's always going to be better.
Yeah, the Russian River mentality taught us this
Yes.
long
Yeah.
ago.
Yeah.
But we don't have a bottling. We don't have the ability to.
Just get a Blickman beer gun. That's all
But
you
what about
need.
light? Or are you just not?
No, brown
accounting
bottles.
that?
Brown bottles.
And just put it in there real quick.
And
Well, yeah,
keep
no,
it
these are-
cold all the
Dude,
time.
If we win a bunch of awards, this show is going to be
For our bottled beer that doesn't exist.
And if you lose, I'm just a piece of shit who like disrupted your
we get to
your
also
easy
go
process. Yeah.
back. Yep. Also go back and say,
it'll take you 2 whole days, but they're super worth it.
okay.
2 days. Like
yeah.
it takes 2 days to fill one bottle.
No.
If you're not willing to spend 2 days, Patrick, I don't have time for you.
No, I know why
we
we
can
never
do
entered.
I'll have to give you the prescription after the show. It's like super long.
I don't even remember the whole process. I just remember doing the interview and going like, "What? Holy
Yeah.
So
shit!"
you're saying Matty B takes a Blickman beer gun on a 10
No,
trillion...
I'm sure he
No,
has
Matt's not the gun.
I'm sure he has a counter pressure filler,
Okay,
and I
yeah.
actually have one also.
But they're not just pulling it off the bottling line, is what I'm saying. It's not
Right,
just like,
They're-
right. Don't take
$500
your
million bottling line.
Yeah.
That's,
Yeah,
that
they're
is-
like
at the
they're in
time
a
when they were
CO2
winning, it was
chamber.
only a $200 million bottling line for first of all. So
Yeah, I get
Like,
it.
get this homebrew gun. It's way better.
yeah, get this $35 homebrew gun.
Don't you love
I
those?
see what you're doing, Patrick, and it makes sense when you say it.
Just pointing
Okay,
out.
But at the same time, in this studio, when
Hey,
they
David,
describe
can
it
you
to me,
step
I'm
off
like,
your
wow.
ranch and come in and fill a
just
bottle with.
Order this Blickman beer. Yeah, First
I
of
need
all,
to come
I
to
love you,
credit card.
Blickman.
like honestly, I can't believe you guys do mobile canning, but also you should just buy if you buy a DO meter, then you can bypass this whole line of speakers.
Right, because then you'll know.
Yeah, it's a lot of work.
You can't
Okay.
send cans.
But
Period. Don't send
seriously.
cans.
No,
What about
no canning
crowlers?
line. No,
Oh, that's even worse. So I
Crowlers
get
are
a lot of
All of our
the
respect
Island.
is now gone. That's pretty cool.
because I've been to a bunch of the judging sessions too. I get a lot of the spoils, like the. And you know what the worst beers that are in the rejects?
Crowlers.
Fucking
Crowlers.
Yeah.
Crowlers are terrible.
Yeah.
Crowlers
He was
are
joking,
like a
by the
pint.
way.
Oh
We're
yeah.
way too professional for
Non-finished
that.
crowlers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We just said a glass growler. That would be the best.
I'm gonna
I
send.
was
Clear
going to
glass.
suggest just send a clear glass growler. Just go for it.
Yeah.
That's right. If you put a lot
Don't
of
even-
electrical tape, you're good.
Don't even
Then you're fine. Yeah, that's true.
don't even pack it. Just send it. Just see what happens.
Put a label on the can itself.
off.
No box. Just a label on the
box.
can and send it that
No
way.
protection.
I'll just write
Don't
the
forget
Brewing
your
Network.
brewery number.
Honestly, it would probably be handled pretty carefully.
All right, listen, I'm telling you, there's a thing to this.
Yes.
God damn it, Pat, the way he talks about it makes him sound like I'm an idiot. But it's going to work. Just trust me. Listen to these guys and see what's up.
Okay.
Actually, I don't know why I'm talking to you. I'm going to talk to Ashley about it,
Yep.
and she's going to decide. We'll see what's up.
Ashley,
She's
never
gonna
mind.
have to put the work in to do it. So.
Yeah, she's going to be like, she'll be like, fuck that.
The organization of this
Yeah.
seems
It's-
easy, but
yeah.
we know it's not.
Yeah.
Yeah. We need expensive equipment at all times, okay?
Oh my
We can't
God.
be using these cheap guns.
You and
Blickman
Google.
beer guns.
We bought, I got to just talk about this real quick. I'm very excited about it. We bought a juicer, and it's changed our lives.
Brewers
He's
need to hear
been-
this.
he's
Like
been calling
personally
it-
or at the
Seriously?
He's
brewery?
been calling
For
it
the
the new
brewery.
brewer.
Okay, yeah,
He's
yeah.
been calling it the new brewer.
Ashley
He's
called it the new brewer.
Where you
referring
put like fruits in
Citrus,
and
specifically.
it squashes them.
Yes. So it's like a hopper.
Yeah.
And we've been trying to solve this for the past 5 years because we hand cut every single piece of fruit.
Justin,
and
Justin,
And
this
then
is
you-
so
it's ridiculous.
important.
We're not talking about like the pinwheel of oranges that's like down at the local
Yes.
like burrito place. Like that's not what you got. You got like a
It's
hopper
like,
and
it's like that, but
Okay.
but like the pro version.
There's like 3
okay.
pinwheels.
Oh, okay, I see.
So
Yeah,
you can take a case of citrus and just dump it in the top, and then it runs down and it'll cut it in half, and then it'll get you pure juice,
Oh,
no
heck
pith.
yeah.
Right, and we have this little rotato thing.
We've
that-
tried everything.
that
We're not
pulls the zest off.
This isn't rookie talk here. We've tried
Amazing.
every juicer because we're buying 5,000 pounds of Arizona citrus a year.
Okay.
And the rind will come out. This
It'll
machine,
halt
we've
your
tried it all.
fermentation. It's like
Oh heck
so
yeah.
many problems.
And you just said it zests too.
this doesn't.
Okay.
We have it's the bigger version of a rotato.
Okay.
So it'll do a double pass on the citrus. But anyone who wants to do like full citrus processing, this is what you have to do. I mean,
What's it called? Do you want to promote it?
I mean, it's a big company. They're
Yeah.
in like hotels. ZoomX.
Oh yeah, this is the
juicers?
one I'm talking about.
Yeah, exactly.
But I'm like envisioning a smaller version of it. But yeah,
Yeah, it's funny that's what fixed all this. But we were trying everything, expensive juicers, and this one just comes along. And
Nails
we used
it.
to have kitchen help come in and have to cut this stuff. It's life changing
Wow.
for a brewery.
Okay.
Who's using real
Anyone
pure
who's
fruit.
has struggles with real fruit, because that truly is a huge struggle of ours.
Yeah.
Because we say we will not use purees. That's not who we are.
right.
But it's so cost effective and so easy. But
Yeah.
we're going to take this hard path.
Does
if it's
it-
going to take us 3 days to do it, that's a problem.
We're telling you this because you gave us such great information. We must.
I love this. Yes. You're now giving it to our listeners.
Yeah.
Yes.
Way to pass it on. All right.
Anyways, just had to mention that.
I love it. All right. Listen, we got to go.
All right.
Did we miss anything important? I'm sure we missed a lot.
Backpacking, stuff like that. Get out there more.
We did. Yeah, we talked about that. Let's just say, how about we do a little let's do a PSA very quickly.
Okay.
Because Jonathan and I were talking about this before the show. We all were. Actually, I really love what Johanna contributed about diapers. in the wilderness. Listen,
Sedona's filled with diapers.
we were kind of we were lamenting that during COVID, outdoorsiness, if that's a word, has skyrocketed, right? Whether it's an RV or a tent or a truck or whatever you do, it's skyrocketed. And then I made up this statistic that like 75% of you have never even camped before. And we were just noted, Jonathan had noted, all of you had noticed in your Arizona wilderness that there's a environmental impact that is 100% avoidable by people leaving garbage and doing dumb things, actually fucking it up.
Yes.
Fucking it up.
Not listening to the don't fuck it up ethos, right? So
While drinking a don't fuck it up, blatantly tossing
oh
it
my
out.
god! Have you found one of those out in the wilderness?
I have
Because that
not
would
had
be
that
such
moment
like a knife.
Oh, no
in
doubt,
the,
yeah.
Right? You're
Yeah.
like, fuck! I need to know this
We sell the
name. We're
company right
banning
then
them.
and there. I call Anheuser.
Well, it wouldn't be your fault. I would want to find a way to ban them from ever purchasing
Yeah.
from you again.
we
right?
get forensics on it.
Yeah.
Who was this?
So our PSA, I think, is look, get out there and enjoy the world, and don't stay locked up at home. That's not good for your mental health. Okay, but when you're out there, the Brewing Network has had a very simple ethos since we started. It's don't be a dick. It's always been like the core of what we do.
Number one rule.
It actually allows us to screw up a lot because if we just didn't mean to be a dick, we followed our own
Sorry.
rules. But don't pick up your garbage. Johanna, diapers? Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so why?
Yeah, like the mayor of Sedona had to go on the radio and just be like, please stop throwing your diapers
Oh my
onto
God.
our scenic trails.
Yeah, it's called
Yeah.
Love to Death, where
That's
these
the
places get
nickname for all
popular
this.
on
Yeah.
Instagram, and then
Yeah.
people just show up in groves and
Oh my
fall
God.
off the edge or whatever happens.
But diapers?
I don't feel like this
Put your
PSA
diapers
is
in the
going to
trash,
work,
right?
but we have to say it. Because I don't understand the mentality.
There should be training wheels to this, though, right?
Okay.
So it should be, let's give you the steps to get here. And actually, working with state parks, we've thought of this a little bit. Go to a state park first. Like
We made
apply
a beer with
some-
state parks and learned a lot about how they go through this. They get worse. They're like, you should hear our stories.
Oh, God,
You
yeah.
think diapers is bad? You should hear what people
Right.
are leaving.
Okay. Yeah.
But at least it's training wheels on how to then go.
Because that's like an organized campground at the state park.
There's a
Yeah,
bathroom.
yeah,
there's
yeah.
all of these things. So don't go straight to primitive camping in
Yeah.
wilderness areas first. Like let's phase it in.
We should.
Yeah.
See, because I don't even understand the mentality. Like, I don't know how you can just drop things on the ground. You don't do it at your house, do you? Do you just walk through your living room and drop your kid's diaper on the living room floor? You don't. So I already don't understand the there are people that do that.
I think beer's the problem.
I guess.
Macro beer.
This is
Okay,
a topic
I've been drunk in the wilderness and I pick it all up. Anyway.
Pack in, you pack out.
That's right.
That's right. It's got to say it on the side of the can, though.
Yeah. You're heading out there in droves, and I don't think that's a bad thing.
This would be good for me to just shut the fuck up because I can go on an hour on this one. The natural side of our world is more important than what we've built, and when you can figure out that our job is to adapt to nature and not have it adapt to us, life is so much better. It's not, we flew in. It's really nice to see the Sierra Nevadas packed with snow. That's a system. That's a system that's naturally there for us to get the free water that's coming off of it. When you start to, and this is tree hugging hippie stuff, but
we in California need that bad, by the way.
Yeah, this is how we should be adapting to that.
Yeah.
And right now, I think there is more. We can afford. Everyone can afford a truck right now and go further than ever. We're very privileged.
Yeah.
I mean, 50 years ago, the idea that everyone has access to a loan to get a truck to do that.
Right.
So there does need to be some education on it. We hope to be a brewery that can do that.
Mm-hmm.
And let's be real, the trash is the least of the problem of what we're talking about. The bigger problems we're talking about, the water, the biodiversity. I mean, trash is an issue.
I was like, really? Shit.
Trash is an issue.
But you're right, yeah.
I mean, that's a small, just visual issue. Like, don't litter. But there are much bigger issues on this planet.
Yeah.
Well, and despite the atmospheric river that's happening in California, like the water, the people who are on the end of the water project are like, I want my water, and they're getting 15%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just heard today
because of water rights.
What they have asked for. So, like, despite how we think we're in the gold, like, we're super not.
No.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, not even
It's
close.
less bad.
We had a great December and a horrible January already.
But atmospheric rivers are unique because they only are isolated areas.
Yeah.
Instead of this widespread.
Right. Which worked for us for our snowpack and a little bit for our reservoirs and us. I'm just talking about California here. But then but yes, it was isolated to one spot. Great for our spot. And now it's been dry again. January, it's going to be in February. Like, it's over. Like, the wet is over for California.
We brew a beer every year with the Wildland Firefighting group. We had 19 gentlemen who passed away in a fire famously, 9 years ago. Granite Mountain Hot Shots in Yarnell. All 19 passed from a terrible wildfire that was a pretty big deal. So we've gotten close to that world. We make a beer with the widow of... the captain of that crew, and she's incredible. But we learn a lot about that scenario.
Yeah,
and we're gonna end with dystopia here. Sorry,
it's okay.
That scenario is horrible for nature. To get one good snow means growth.
Yeah.
And to not have late snowpack means June will be fire season.
Right. Yeah.
And that's that's going to be the new thing is every time you get that one really nice atmospheric river, it will mean now that the forest will burn. And so we will be going through a cycle every year of fear. Like, truly.
Yeah.
We will be like, oh, shit, it snowed a bunch. That means it's going to melt. There's no snow in February and March.
Right.
That means there's no snowpack into June. And that will be, again, if you're a brewery, doesn't mean you need to be conservation based. Just remember your community. There, even if it's a local firefighting or whatever, you're bringing stories to your social media that a beer drinker might not have thought about.
Sure.
Even the don't fuck it up thing that you're talking about, even just saying diapers, there might be a beer drinker who orders a beer and goes, I learned something today. Like, the wilderness is going to get in trash. Like, I should consider that more. And that's
what you buy.
Yeah, that's the education piece that I think all breweries don't need to be us and conservation based.
Yeah.
But can say a little something about shit you don't believe in.
Sure.
We saw some breweries talk about Black Lives Matter. We saw some breweries talk about, I could go down the list of things that matter. That is important in the community.
Yeah.
And to end with the utopian.
The more we do it, the more we help.
Yeah, we can
I'm so
be a
depressed now,
conduit.
Jonathan. I was feeling good. I was so happy you guys were here.
Can we talk real
I'm
quick?
just depressed.
Just mention we're on our first ever water restriction in the
Yeah.
Colorado River Basin.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Because the drought starts in Colorado right around. Yeah.
So there's no snowpack there.
Yeah.
So as of January 1st,
Oh shit.
Arizona's farmers, it's really impacting farmers, have a water restriction, the first ever that the federal government put into place since Lake Mead was and the Hoover Dam was built.
Yeah.
So again,
Damn.
it's
Some
one
warning
good
signs,
rain.
you know,
It's
like
significant.
we should
Yeah.
do something.
Just a couple like mild
Just like,
warning
we should
signs.
do something.
It's not real, Patrick. It can't be real.
Yeah.
Don't
It's
look
not
up.
human.
Don't look.
The
up.
movie
Oh
Don't
my
Look
God.
Up. Watch
So
it.
I haven't watched it yet. I read a bunch of bad reviews, and I was like, "That sounds awful." And then my friends were like, "No, dude, you got to watch
You
this."
should watch it.
Yeah, it sounds like it's
fun.
Very good.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna get us out of here. I want to thank you for making the voyage here. I appreciate that.
It's been fun over the past decade.
Thank you for having us.
No,
Getting
thank
to know you.
Thank you so much. Yeah, we've gotten to know each other in different ways over the past decade. Johanna, I'm really glad that you're there because they need you. It's
Yes,
just
So true.
Just really.
no. I like the way you guys do business in general. I've been learning a lot from you over the last couple years. I will continue to do so. I think you are setting an example and creating a blueprint, and I know that that's your intention. But maybe stop enough to make sure you know that you actually are succeeding in doing that.
We will tell our staff
when
that this is just us talking. Our
Sure.
staff's living this, and it's serious.
When I listen to you, I'm learning. I really am. I don't mean that in any other way but the truth. So, keep doing that. And I can tell, and I think it comes across and I know it's going to come across to my listeners that you guys mean what you say, and that's important. You're walking the walk and talking the talk, and hiring folks to help you do that. And that's all difficult stuff. That's complicated. So I appreciate you taking that on. Teresa, I'm happy to have you back in
Teresa,
the
what
studio.
a pleasure, by the way, to get to know you.
Oh, 100%, you guys. Like, I have tons of respect for you. I can't wait to come try more of your beers. The
Your
ones we had
idea?
tonight, super delicious.
Yes.
Collaboration idea.
Don't fuck it up.
That is a cool.
Don't
fuck up the
Across the world.
I will proselytize that throughout California happily.
I love this idea.
Yeah.
I love this idea.
You guys are kicking ass.
Let's
and
be like
Synergy.
Captain Planet. We'll put our rings together.
There you go.
That's right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for hanging out with us. We'll be back next week. We've got the brand new director of the American Homebrewers Association, Julia Hers, on the show. And we've spoken with her throughout the years in many different roles. And now she's the Homebrewers Association director. So I'm excited to get to know her again and find out what's happening over there for homebrewers who, they drive the craft beer world. We didn't get to talk about how you were a Gordon Biersch guy, Pat. Damn it.
that's
Next
right.
time. We'll have you back.
It's great stories.
We'll have you back. I know.
Yeah, cliffhanger.
All right, everybody. Thanks for hanging out with us, and we'll see you next time right here on the Brewing Network. Take care of yourselves and your beer.